Hello and good evening, everyone. Welcome to this week's episode of Primetime Gaming with Mr. Boomstick. And indeed, I have a lot of friends on the panel. As a matter of fact, it is the biggest panel I have used for some of the biggest topics in 2020. And we have a couple of really amazing guests. But you know what? Let's get into the introductions because, quite frankly, it has been basically one heck of an Xbox day. Some may call it Christmas. Some say E3 has come early, but we have a lot to get to. So starting first, we have two gentlemen that are big-time gamers. They have a big-time YouTube channel, and they were highly recommended by our good friend Tempest Sun. Let me start off with Brian from Work to Game. Welcome to the show, dude.
Dude, thanks for having me on, man. I'm really excited. And it couldn't come at a perfect time. Like, it's always great when breaking news is like, hey, let's talk about the Series X. So
well, it's certainly great to have you here. I'm glad that we were able to get you on the program. And of course, your partner, your buddy that helps you run the channel, and quite frankly,
better half, the one who named it.
Your better half. Chris, welcome to the show, dude. I wasn't sure you were going to be here, but I'm happy that we get both of you guys from Work to Game.
Yeah. That's honestly why there's two of us, because the work and the Work to Game often makes it hard. YouTube doesn't forgive taking breaks, and having two people makes it a lot easier.
Yeah, we totally recommend it, but you got to know them really well. So like establish a friendship that lasts a couple years, like at least 10, and then we're like, hey, well, all we're doing with the whole time is like calling each other up, talking for like an hour or hour and a half about what's going on in games, our own theories about games. And then it's like one day we're like, we should just record it and put it out online.
That is awesome.
And we did it and nobody cared. And so then we started just like, well, let's just keep making different videos and things like that. And eventually, I guess we found some lightning in a bottle, and now people know who we are. So that's always exciting.
Well, listen, you guys have a great channel. You have a tremendous following. You get outstanding views on pretty much every video you do. So whatever that lightning is in the bottle is, put it in the safe and make sure that it never flies out. That is for certain. So let's continue on, because we actually have another special guest. Now, obviously, he is someone that is one of the most generous human beings I have ever met. Not only does he do really breakneck work that nobody on this panel or nobody in the chat would want to do, because he posts pictures of some of these horrendous homes he goes into, but more importantly, he has shown up in the category as being an official Xbot thanks to this newest poll. Please welcome Wilmy Hood.
What's up, everybody? Thanks for that awesome introduction, Boom. But yeah, man, I know what I do for, the type of business I own isn't for everybody. It can be rough. There's a lot of long days. It's still not as bad as scrolling through Twitter some days, though. So I think Twitter can be a little more messy.
Well, yeah, Twitter recently has been messy, especially today. Today was probably it'd be easy to say that most Xbox gamers were dancing and it was unicorns and rainbows all day long, whereas maybe the PlayStation community wasn't as happy because actually we had something to cheer about. But let's continue on.
Can we just give PlayStation a bone? Can we show them more than the logo? Like, just
they put
something.
A top hat on it,
power
man.
Cord.
Yes.
Yes.
They put a top hat on the logo. What else do they need? That's it.
You know what? I put it this way: we're going to get into the weeds a little bit later on how Sony has in fact disappointed their fans. But let's continue on with the panel introductions. Next up, you know him as someone still upset that he can't play Phantasy Star Online 2. He is a sniper elite, and not only that, he's an amazing human being. Please welcome to the show, Tempest Sun.
What is up, Boom? I am so happy to be here. I love the fact that Work the Game and Wilmy Hood are here guesting. It's awesome, man. I watch Wilmy's channel. I watch Work the Game. And obviously, I love you, Boom. So, it's just a lot of good things coming to one place.
Well, listen, it's great to have you as a part of today's show. And it's going to be an epic one at that. Next up, our resident hero, our resident Cape Crusader, someone that loves football and is also a main cog that keeps primetime gaming running each and every week. Please welcome to the show, Cybernox.
Phenomenal panel tonight, Broom. It is a great time to be a gamer. Let's just say that. All right, I'm ready for tonight's topics. It's Monday night. It's the perfect way to start your week. Let's get started.
Well, thanks so much for being here. And as we swap you out for our resident man of the hour, you know him as having a powerful voice in this community. He's our resident GameStop know-it-all and someone who has promised me that the smoke signals will indeed go high and heavy once I can pre-order the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox Series X. Please welcome to the show, wearing his favorite cap of all caps.
Yes.
How you doing, Forte?
Look, man, it might be an end of a dynasty there, so I got to rep it as long as I can. We never know what the next year is going to bring. But I want to give a shout out to CD Projekt Red. They finally sent this to me.
Oh,
nice,
oh
dude.
my God.
Oh, wow. That's
already
dope.
It came in the mail today, so shout out to them. Really appreciate that, man. I didn't expect to have such esteemed guests on the show today, man.
Dude, esteemed, man. You're sitting here repping the Pats, like that's awesome. I was just meeting with a bunch of Pat fans. They're like, "Oh, we hope it doesn't end," but they're
sooner or later it's got to come to an end.
Yeah. So, did you work for GameStop? Because Chris actually worked for corporate back in the day.
I do.
Nice.
I had my own store when it was Funkoland.
Oh yeah.
2 decades ago.
I literally just left work like 30 minutes ago.
Well,
what
listen,
was on our paychecks? It's not Funko. It's the name. Yeah, Babbage's.
Babbage's was it? Yes. Yeah.
Jesus,
Wow,
yeah,
Babbage's. That's really bringing it back.
That was who paid my W-2. GameStop was on the door. That is not who paid the check.
Oh my God! Talking about the good old days. Well, listen, I'm going to bring up a picture that obviously is obviously going to make most people in the chat are excited to be here.
Hell yeah.
But let's talk about what the elephant in the room, so to speak. Now, obviously, talk about a crazy Monday. Now, normally on Mondays, we're all getting back into the swing of work. We're devastated as the weekend has come and gone. And we know that it's a 5-day grind, sometimes 6 and 7 day grind for some people who, don't even get the weekends off. And honestly, what dropped today is probably the biggest news of 2020, and we can equate this to Xbox Wire, who posted an article earlier today where the author was none other than head of the Xbox himself, Phil Dominus Maximus Spencer. Now, in this industry halting revelation, the rumored 12 teraflops was confirmed in print form, and you had everyone, and I mean everyone, scrambling to make YouTube videos. I did a stream today that had over 515 people watching live. It just broke 5,000 views. Only 6 hours ago, the video was posted, and quite frankly, it's probably one of the most successful live shows that had literally zero advertising for it. So of course I have to thank the community for that. But this bold and confident move by Microsoft, who is currently sitting in third place among the current consoles, shocked the entire gaming space. And like I said on today's show, or today's special edition of the Xbox Factor podcast, Sony's silence to both the gaming industry and its millions of fans is not only deafening, but it's going to hurt them, and it's another blow to the industry leader. Now, obviously, in the 90-plus minute show, I broke down the entire written piece by Phil Spencer, though I have an outstanding panel who is basically going to take the mic from Mr. Boomstick today because they have a lot to talk about. So let's get directly into the panel members. Brian, I want to start with you.
Okay.
Obviously, you are someone that covers the industry. You have an amazing channel, and this really came out of nowhere. And I got to tell you, as a fan of gaming, it really has been a complete 180 when you talk about Microsoft and you talk about Sony.
Right.
They've lost a lot of their major players that most fans look to for Sony information. They're all gone. It's run by Jim Ryan, who for his own status really ruled the roost when he was in charge of the European division of Sony. But he is a businessman through and through. He's not a Yoshida. You understand what I'm saying? He's not some of the other, well-known, very vocal, very fan-friendly Sony guys. And then you look at Microsoft. Now, Microsoft started out in a really bad place with bad messaging, bad marketing. I have a console for you. It's a 360 if you don't want to be online. Stupid things like that. Bad management.
Yeah.
And we've seen both companies turn it around. Now, turning around, like I said, I understand. Like, I know I'm going to get some slack from this in the comments. I know that the chat's probably going to go crazy with, wait just a second, boom. The PlayStation 4 has 4 major games coming out. They still are the leaders. But we have to talk. We're not talking about the games that are coming out. We know we're all buying the games. They're all going to be great. No one's denying that. But we have to talk about market share. And it seems as if Microsoft could not do no wrong. What were your thoughts on this megaton article that came completely out of left field by Phil Spencer?
I mean, ultimately, when we say it came out of left field, I would say that if you've been following Phil Spencer and his career and what he's been saying and doing all throughout 2013, when basically like he took over 2013 or 2014, pretty much, hey, all right, this is his ship now. And if you've been following his career, when you see the like the Xbox Series S, the Xbox One X, and then going into this next generation, if you've been following it, I don't think any of this is out of left field. Like, he's been talking about that. You've got Play Anywhere, you've got Game Pass, you've got your games and your hardware and your controllers are forward compatible. He's been saying all of that. And now this is him in writing, because I've always, when I talk about it, people are always like, oh, well, it's rumored and we'll have to see what that looks like. This is him kind of putting it on the tablets and saying, here's the first hit. Like, this isn't anything this isn't everything. This is just the start of it. And when he's got the 12 teraflops, that's great. When he's got the variable rate shading, fine. Here's the things that speak to me. The quick resume for multiple games,
yes,
and the smart delivery. Smart delivery followed up by none other than CD Projekt Red with Cyberpunk 2077 saying, yeah, we're in smart delivery. You buy it for one, you buy it for all. That's the commitment we're making.
And that's the biggest
gamers.
game of 2020, no less.
Hands down. So that's where, like, whenever, because everybody's like, well, do we wait for the Series X and then do I have to buy it there? Phil Spencer's changing the game, and I'm so happy Xbox got its butt handed to it back in 2013, because it needed to happen, because then they've been going all in on gaming first mentality and ideas and finding what works and what's right for the gamer. And I want PS5 to be strong. I want Nintendo to be strong. I think when all of these companies are operating at their best, gamers win hands down. So I love everything I read today, but the two big takeaways were the smart delivery and the fast reboot, because fast multi-resume, because I was like, oh my gosh, that makes it so much better as a parent.
For a parent, that is big.
Yeah.
Real big.
Well, that's where, like, and I know everybody like losers their mind when I talk on the positive sides of Stadia. It's not ready. Don't go and buy it. This is not me recommending Stadia, but for me, for Stadia, for the games I have, it is the fastest way for me to go play a game and get out. And Xbox and PlayStation and whatever consoles, they gotta match that, because it is game changing when you have internet like mine, which is uncapped in 1 gig. So it's like, I have no problems. But beyond that, like, don't go get it. I'm not recommending it. I'm just telling you, like, speed is a game changer when it comes to these games. And when I tried to go boot up Forza Horizon 4 and it had like a 30-minute update, I go, well, I guess I'm not playing this game. I guess I'm going to go change a diaper and go to bed, because that's just what I'm going to do. Anyway, that's my thoughts.
Well, listen, dude. First of all, great point, Chris. I want to come to you next on this, but I have to catch up on the super chats, which of course are getting out of control already.
Oh wow, yeah.
So Robert Olson. First of all, dude, thank you so much for being here, and also the extreme generosity. He drops a $20 super chat and says, "I love the content. Keep it up, Boom and Panel." Well, thank you so much for the kind words, but of course the generosity. Mass Hole 1977, a good friend of the show, drops a $5 super chat and he says, "Boom, twice in one day is like buy one, get one free. Effing stoked about the Xbox Series X. Forte, great hat, go Pats, the GOAT will be back, and hashtag sports." And of course, Wilmy Hood, who's on the panel and still shows his ridiculous generosity with the $25 super chat, says, "Hit that like button, share this out." Thank you for that. And of course, Chaos Might drops an outstanding and of course very generous super chat of $10 and says, "I'm super excited for this year's new generation Xbox. This is a big bonus for us gamers." And wow, I have to thank Info Aquasafe, who drops
That's incredible.
$159.
Dang out.
Well, basically $160 super chat. Says, "First time live listener. Love your shows. Keep up the great work." Dude, that is outstanding generosity. But more importantly, the kind words are truly appreciated. Now, Chris, look, there's a lot to break down in this article. And quite frankly, the community at large, the Xbox community, is cheering like they just won the Super Bowl, and for good reason. Quite frankly, we have had, and I say we because I support all consoles, but where I lay my head at night is on the Xbox, platform. It's where I like the achievements more than the trophies. I like the Elite controller as opposed to the DualShock. I like Xbox Live. It's more secure. And of course, I like Game Pass and the ability. I happen to be in the beta right now testing xCloud, which works amazing. Now, when you look at what Phil Spencer did, this is a very bold Phil Spencer. This is a very different Phil Spencer. And I hearken back to that December 12th epic event at the Game Awards where you saw it. He had a certain swagger to him, and he had a little bit of a smirk in his face when he was up on stage because he knew what he was going to do. And then since then, they may not be the biggest of bombs, but we've been getting steady flow of Xbox news. And today, in my opinion, was the megaton because obviously they confirmed the 12 teraflops. And what were your takes on how epic of an event this was on a static Monday?
So I think comparing it to the Super Bowl is probably the right comparison for several reasons. First of all, if you've been a true fan, none of this is really going to catch you off guard. Right. You were there when you got first round draft picks, when you saw Phil going to the effort to bring on new studios and invest serious money with the full backing of Microsoft into their gaming division. You were there when Game Pass brought AAA titles to our fingertips at $1 to upgrade the remainder of your Xbox Live subscription. And when people posted out, hey, if you extend your Xbox Live subscription and then do the $1, you get a value. Xbox is like, yeah, go ahead. Like, we are not worried about it. We just want to make you happy. And then you see them saying that all native first parties will be available on Game Pass day one. You see them saying Halo Infinite will be available on things prior to the Series X. We built a whole new game-defining game. It'll roll on Xboxes. This is that biggest announcement so far, but we've had an incredible season, but it wasn't everybody else's team. What's unique about this is, like winning the Super Bowl, non-fans are catching wind of this. They watched this too. PlayStation fans are here. PlayStation fans didn't care when Game Pass got a win. They don't care when we come out with a new title on Xbox. It's not a big deal to them because they're happy in their PlayStation ecosystem. We see that when Fortnite and all these other games want to go crossplay, and PlayStation fans want to stay in their own sandbox. They don't want to come play with Xbox players. And this is just too big of an announcement for it not to be impressive across the board. It's absolutely something that could redefine gaming, and the idea of backward compatibility, the idea of letting my hardware carry forward, where if I go invest in multiple controllers, my God, the number of Nintendo controllers I own across all generations, this is something where even after the Series X, this will have an impact, which is the way you want a potentially last console to do it. It could be one of the last consoles we get before we move to cloud gaming.
Yeah.
And you want them to make that statement that it's time to focus on the gamer.
One of the things that, that I really enjoy about Phil Spencer as a leader is when he talks, he's talking to you and not through you. Okay, like when I was reading the article, obviously I read the article about 3 times before going live because I was going to use the article, and obviously as I was doing the live stream, we broke down the article, every piece of the article, but it's the way he puts the gamers first that's so impressive.
It's like it. He is a gamer, and you can see it in his profile, and he loves Destiny.
Yes, he does. He plays it quite often, as a matter of fact.
God dang it!
You know what? Speaking of Destiny, let's go to our resident main man when you talk about Destiny, the guy that knows what grinding is all about, and he doesn't mind doing it. Gaming Forte. Listen, I gotta be honest with you. You yourself have been on this show since its inception, and having you as a part of this show on a weekly basis is not only an honor, not only a pleasure, but the plethora of information that you bring is worth its weight in gold. And my question to you is, when you saw this article drop, again, on a static Monday that no one expected anything, how taken aback were you? Because remember, you not only have an outstanding YouTube channel, but you're on multiple podcasts where this topic is going to be the hottest thing since sliced bread. What are your thoughts, dude?
Look, man, I was thinking about that exact thing. Oh, and plus, shout out to you for over the 500 people that came to a
thank you, dude.
show that you did. That was pretty amazing. It was cool. I was at work when it was happening, and I was like, man, this is really, really cool. And thanks for those shout outs on your show, too. I would listen to the whole thing.
Dude, it's my listen, it's literally the least I could do.
So I put up a bunch of tweets just for that. And you probably know I tweeted a bunch today while I was at work.
You sure did.
Worry at work, and I kept saying, dude, Microsoft is doing exactly what I want them to do this generation that they haven't done for the entire generation up until basically December of this year. They're doing something different. They're being bold. They're being exciting. Me being a person that loves Xbox ever since Xbox has been a thing, this is what I've been expecting from them pretty much this whole generation, and now they're finally getting back to that. And I said this on the show last week. Microsoft has to put their foot on Sony's neck at this point, and this is kind of what they're doing to an extent. Now, we got to wait to see what Sony does in rebuttal to all this. But as of right now, just being an Xbox fan, you cannot be nothing but excited for just the thought of a new console coming out and knowing more and more about what that system is going to do for you. I'm with Brian, I'm with everybody. When they say like the features that's coming to the system are some of the best things that I expect from a next gen system. Being somebody that plays on PC, plays on console, a lot of these things, this is what I'm looking for. And I'm expecting more things to be talked about, because he did hint at the very end of that
Sir, he did.
He said more things are coming soon, not E3. Because shout out, because you noticed that. Shout out to you. He said more things coming soon. Like he said, he could have said like wait till E3, we'll have more stuff. So this kind of brings more credence to that whole April reveal that everybody is like rumored that's going to be a thing. And I think this is just the beginning of it. Microsoft's about to blow the top off this system, and everybody's going to be even more excited. And like I say, this is how you get the casual base back. I think it's going to be a slow trickle through next generation, because as of right now, there's really no titles that's good. Like they say, all their titles are going to be pretty much on all platforms for the first 2 to 3, well, for the first 1 to 2 years, which is fine. So it's going to be a slow adoption rate getting to the next generation for a lot of people, because you technically don't have to. But for the people that do want to do it, being able to resume your games whenever, being able to have the ability to know when you buy a game for your Series X, it will be completely upgraded for that system, even if you buy it a year later. Those are all huge wins that people are not going to, until you got the system in your house, you just won't realize how much benefit, how much the benefit of that is going to be. People to this day don't realize, if you have an Xbox One X, how much better the load times are. So when people literally get a new Xbox One X, they love, like, dude, the load times are so much better on this system. Wait till the next generation system comes, and then you're going to be blown away. And that's what I'm super excited for. I just wanted Microsoft to be aggressive this generation. And the marketing has been so subpar this whole generation, and now they're finally starting to talk the way that they needed to talk, and they're not waiting for anybody to do it for them. They're basically on the offensive the whole time. They got interns giving Phil Spencer reasons of why he should announce the system at the VGAs, which blew my mind. It wasn't even his decision. It was like, hey, we should do this because I think this is how our fans are going to react. And like I told you on the show, when they made that announcement and showed it at the VGAs, it was small. It wasn't something like mind-bogglingly amazing, but for the fans of people that love to play on console, to just get a reveal like that, I literally forgot about everything else that happened at the VGAs. I stopped.
Yeah.
I stopped watching it. Only thing that was really interesting at that point was who was going to win Game of the Year, and that's the only thing that I really paid attention, because we was all in chats and parties, and we were just saying, dude, Microsoft literally just brought back a portion of the fan base that they lost at the beginning of this generation with that one announcement. Now they're working on everybody else, and only time's going to tell how this is going to work out, but they got the blueprint in place with Game Pass. They got the blueprint in place with a brand new system. If they hit them on both sides with the 2-system attack, with the rumored Lockhart being another part of this scenario, that's going to be another entry point for people to get in that don't want to jump up to the new Series X system. And guess what? Microsoft just 2 days ago dropped the price of the Xbox One X to $299.
Yes.
So if you don't,
they're clearing the shelf space. There's no doubt about it.
Right there doesn't tell you that Microsoft's really devoted to this generation and saying, look, we still don't care where you play your games at, but if you decide to play them on Xbox, you're going to have the best experience you possibly can have as a gamer with the games that we're going to give you on offer. Plus, you could just buy a $500 system and not buy any games for it, because you got a service that gives you over 350 plus games with the ability to have smart downloads on it, where all those games are going to give you the best version of those games going forward. So, look, man, I'm going to let the rest of the panel talk. I'm excited. I was at work waiting for this show to happen, because people are, this is what you want as a gamer. But excited as a gamer, and I'm excited for what Microsoft is doing right now and going forward.
Jump on the xCloud though in that regards, because that is also another hidden feature in which that, let's say, okay, yes, there's kind of 4 main issues that cloud gaming has. It's speed, data caps, ownership, which Microsoft kind of solves the ownership problem with its whole transition. Like, you can go play them on your Xbox, go. We just want you, we just want you to have the best experience possible. And then essentially like what our data is doing in that regards. But for people who have the access, and it's not going to be a problem. And once you go hands-on with cloud gaming, you realize I'm not having any lag. I'm playing the game just like if the console was sitting right next to me. Like, that is so revolutionary, because because I was sitting down at dinner with my family. I got my cousin, he's a doctor, and I started talking about it, and he goes, "What?" I go, "Yeah, you can just kind of play in a browser and you just, go get the game." He's like, "That would be amazing for me," because I'm not going to, he's like, "I don't have enough time. I'm not going to go. I can't justify going and spending $500 on a console, or hell, even $200 on the console." But he was a big Halo guy, a big video game player. And it's just like, his life doesn't pertain to that. And there are millions and millions, if not more, fallen away gamers who now just kind of play games on their phone. And that's the market that cloud gaming tries to bridge in at first, is bringing in these people. And I think xCloud is going to be probably the best premier service when it does officially launch. And then all of a sudden you're sitting here going like, because what I've heard and what has not been confirmed, but this is like when we say like when it's announced, I'm not going to be shocked. It's like, hey, go download your game. Oh, you've got the internet to stream it. While it's downloading, you can just start playing right now. You don't have to wait for it to be downloaded, to be patched. It's going to be integral into the core system of Xbox going forward, so that you, if available, have it as a tool in your chest, not a choice to make. It's just here to make your experience better.
Man, I didn't even think about that with the whole way that xCloud can tie into your download experience. Like, oh, you want to be able to play your game right on your system? Guess what? You can, but let's let you play it this way until that download is ready for you to play it natively on your system. That is actually a really good bring up that I'd never even thought of.
That's happening. So just when it's announced and you see everybody lose their mind, just remember this podcast.
Remember, you heard it from Chris. I mean,
Brian.
From Brian.
It's okay. We're interchangeable. They call me Brandon too.
Yeah. Listen, I want to continue on, but before I do, Valette Lulu drops a $5 super chat, and I think you're gonna like this, Forte. Tell Forte to turn on his camera. Pats are cool. LOL. So yes, everyone apparently loves the Pats. I don't. I'm a Steelers fan, and they've broken my heart more times than I can count.
You should be. Your team beat us twice. The Pats are the Pats, man.
Well, listen, let's continue on. Wilmy Hood, you are apparently an Xbot, as confirmed by many people in social media. I'm actually a higher tier than you, so I feel honored.
So should I go more Xbot for what I'm about to say?
Listen, just you know what I say, go with it. Just people gonna have to accept you for being a bot. That's fine. Listen, Wilmy, obviously you have been very vocal on the way Phil Spencer has turned things around. You yourself own your own business, so you understand how important it is to be a leader, to show others the way things need to be done. And exactly. When Phil got promoted in late 2017, he obviously turned the ship around. And I've said this before. I said it on today's special stream, that a ship the size of Microsoft takes time to turn around. And he has done that. He has done everything he said he's going to do. And now he's talking again. After you read this unbelievable written article by him, what were your thoughts on where the Xbox brand is going and where the community is going to be rewarded for sticking around?
Well, it's kind of obvious. I mean, we actually got specs. We know what this thing is going to do. And PlayStation fanboys found out today that their logo gets a top hat and they're going to get a controller that tracks their sweat secretion. I mean, that comes in handy, man, when you're on Pornhub on your PS4. You don't know how much your hands sweating. But come on, Forte. You know I was going to go there, man.
I know you.
But I mean, you can't deny this. I mean, everybody knew it. Dealer Gaming said this back in December.
Yes.
And the bad part, man, there are still people in these comments saying, "Okay, we want real proof." This came from Microsoft and Phil Spencer. What other proof do you need?
I saw people beginning, where's the confirmation? Who's it coming from?
Yeah, I mean,
Pretty
this
ridiculous.
isn't coming from a regular podcaster. This is coming directly from the source. It doesn't get better unless you're going to send Moses down with tablets, and he's going to stand beside a burning bush or something. But we all knew.
E3 presentation right there.
We knew. I mean, this was not news to a lot of us, that have been Xbox fans, us Xbots. We knew this was coming. We've known it for a while. And now I'm pretty sure I've saw a couple of articles since we've been on here, Boom. Now the PS5 is up to 16 teraflops. Yeah, and that's pretty amazing. It grew within a couple of hours. But, and Microsoft has turned around a complete 180. 2013, we all know it went badly. And a lot of us stuck around. And finally, thanks to Phil, all that's getting ready to change. And I will be there, day one. I will buy my 3 new Xboxes. And
wow.
whoever, you know, is a Sony fanboy doesn't like it, well, I guess they can just kiss my ass because they're not paying for them. I am. So that's it. I mean, we knew. It's pretty much, there's not a lot to say, man. We all knew this was coming. And you know, like me and you were talking a few hours ago, the trolls are all over the place. You've got some in your chat. I've received some pretty entertaining messages today.
I can only imagine.
Oh, yeah. And I mean, we knew. And I will still buy my PlayStation 5 when it comes out.
Yeah, we all are. We're all going to buy it.
And I actually joked around earlier online. I got my Stadia set up today. I bought 2 of those.
Nice,
and I was joking, when am I supposed to start hating on Xbox now? Because that seems to be the common thing with a lot of podcasters. But I mean, Xbox will always be my go-to no matter what. And I've got, I've got multiple gaming PCs, PlayStations. Now I've got Stadia, which I always said I would never get, but I'm going to play on it all, but I always go back to my Xbox.
And 14's coming to Xbox hopefully this year. That's got my heart beating excited.
I was wondering when
that's
AP launched in general.
Yeah,
right?
A lot of people, as a matter of fact, and I'm sure, Cybernox, let me get you in here, buddy. All right. Because obviously you are someone that also speaks logic. You never go off the handle talking fanboy nonsense. And obviously you've been a part of this program since its inception. Obviously your opinion, it does matter. And it's why we love having you on each and every week. You yourself have been talking about how important Game Pass is to the Microsoft brand. When you factor in xCloud, when you factor in the confirmation of 12 teraflops, when you factor in Phil Spencer himself saying that Microsoft will not be out of position in price and power when it comes to next generation. Those are his words. And then you see this article that, again, this is Big Dick Phil. Okay, people don't want to admit it. This is Anaconda Phil coming up on stage and just they're calling him Kickstand Phil. Okay, what were your thoughts when this article dropped?
Can we please give a hand to Xbox for completely doing a 180 from 2013? I mean, this is a completely different company than a completely different Xbox ecosystem that was announced back in 2013. The launch is completely different. Phil is like on cloud 9 right now. But like everybody in the panel alluded to, all the features that they're giving us, all the quick resume, all the 120 frames per second support, like it's insane. The smart delivery is like all game changers. I even think Digital Foundry did a video on this as well. They're saying that they're extremely excited just for smart delivery.
Yes.
You don't have to download all those assets that one console has over the other. Sometimes we do these updates that are 50 gigs, 30 gigs, kind of just like Brian alluded to earlier. He went to go play Forza, 30 gigs. If he was playing maybe on another console that didn't need all those, 4K textures, this and that, it's going to be a game changer. And another thing, for a long time, always has been that PC was always the superior, and it continues to be the superior.
Well, I mean, obviously, with the ability to swap out depending on what your purse is like, you can go crazy.
But little by little, that margin has become, increasingly smaller and smaller, right? And now here we have first time ever a console that's going to deliver us so much power that we're going to be able to play games the way we never thought before. We're going to be able to play games at 4K, hopefully 4K 60. Some people were saying that, from the specs that were revealed today, that this has, the power of a 2080 like graphics card. It's unbelievable.
Well, what they said in Digital Foundry I found very interesting is that, yes, it's 12 teraflops, but because of Navi, it's going to do so much more.
It's got so much potential. It's incredible. And, just the way Xbox has been, turning things around for these past few years, they've just been so consumer friendly. It's ridiculous. Like they mentioned before, Play Anywhere, xCloud, Game Pass, all these backwards compatibility. They were the first to come and like introduced that to us. You know, oh, you can play these games better now on your Xbox One X. Here's an update with, you know, higher resolution, this and that. Everything Xbox has been doing. This announcement just, you know, puts a stamp on it, exactly where Xbox is going, exactly what Phil Spencer has been saying from the get-go, what he wants us to do. He wants to put the players, the gamers first, and that's exactly what the Xbox Series X is showing us right here. I'm all set.
All of that makes sense. I mean, they bought all these
They're doing
studios,
everything.
and
And
studios make their
Yep.
money off of being able to generate for current content. Like
Yeah.
the install base is just so much bigger if you can go back at least one step, and the ability to like develop for all of them.
Yeah.
That makes it easier to be a developer. I mean,
just
the
think
fact that they're bringing in the JP market with all these new Japanese titles, that just brings in more of a base where Xbox hasn't been successful historically.
That's the
And
one
just-
thing that surprised me. Go ahead, sorry.
No, sorry. I was just gonna just one thing that he said too. Like the power of the Series X is gonna allow you to play your games, the games that you own now, even better on the Series X. So Forte, a lot of people that play, like Wilmy probably knows this, he plays multiple games on PCs to a higher fidelity. Now imagine playing those same games. Let's say, you know, there's I play Destiny as well. Destiny you can play at 60 frames on PC. It's still locked at 30 on console. But with the Series X, hopefully they'll, you know, upgrade that to have a firmware update or an update that'll allow us to play at 60 frames with higher graphical fidelity on the Series X. Like everything. And you know what? It just hurts me when like Xbox is doing all these pro consumer things, all these good things. They're just hitting out of the park, and people still trying to deny us of our joy. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Like, there's not. Come on, man.
Well,
Don't
it's
take my
insane.
sunshine.
Yeah, the new narrative I saw was like 12 teraflops. Holy crap! Because quite honestly, holy crap, right? And then the first thing I see is haters are like, "Yeah, but content's way better than power." I'm like,
Oh
Yeah.
God.
You know what I said? Like, I think
You're
I
not really
mentioned
wrong. I mean,
Yeah,
you
it's
can have
not
12
wrong, I
teraflops
just-
and you know, calculate a background. It's like, okay, well, it's
Con-
like, yeah, let's see what you can do with it. It's about giving the developers that power, and that's what
Exactly.
Phil is. Like, he has just built a system and an ecosystem about developer choice, right? When you talk about smart delivery, that's a developer choice. When you talk about crossplay, that's a developer choice. Like, they're obviously saying, like, we want to give you the tools so that you can make the best product, best game possible, because people, we have the community. And the fact that when you look at you know, Halo, like Halo Infinity being not only on the Series X but also on the current gen, that is also not just for the community, not just for like, hey, now I don't have to go spend $500. Like, let's say I didn't have the money. Okay, well, now I'm not cut off from this exciting event.
Yes.
Beyond that, that also then communicates to devs. Like, we're not just telling you what to do, we're leading. And that's the key difference here. They put all their games in Game Pass. All their games are Play Anywhere. They're not telling you, they're just showing you a better way. And it's up to devs to say, yeah, I want to take advantage of those tools or not.
right.
Yep.
You know,
right
I mean,
now,
look.
Microsoft is steering the direction this generation is going to start.
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
100%. Yep.
They're definitely turning the head of the bull, so to speak, for sure. Real quick, I have to thank Scrub Nurse, who's an outstanding supporter of Double Barrel Gaming. He drops a $5 super chat and says this: "Wow, Phil is making moves, and now CD Projekt Red is co-signing. What's next? New studio, new partnerships, custom consoles. Great work, boom. 2 shows one day." Yeah, thanks, dude. I super appreciate the kind words. You know, but I want to get to Tempest Sun. You know, Tempest, the one thing that I got out of this article, besides the incredible specs, the confirmation of everything we were hoping was to be in there, was how Phil Spencer really drove it home, where he said a generation with the players at the center. And I just want to read an excerpt from the article. He says the Xbox Series X is our fastest, most powerful console ever, designed for a console generation that has you at its center. This means a high-fidelity gaming experience enclosed in a quiet and bold design with the ability to discover thousands of games across 4 generations, all with more playing and less waiting. And I think that that statement, along with the one at the end that says, we can't wait to share more details about the new Xbox with you in the coming months. Not that we'll come and see you at E3. So again, after this particular massive topic, we're going to go into Speculation Town, which is a place I kind of like to hang out. And we're going to talk about this rumored April event that I have on good authority is happening. Now, again, I'll be the first one to say, if I'm wrong, I'll stand up on the podium and admit it, but I think it's happening. But getting back to this article, Tempest, as an Xbox gamer, but as a PC gamer who can get these high fidelity, experiences right now, how important was it for Microsoft to kind of just draw that that line in the sand and say, yes, here's the specs, go crazy community?
Well, I think if you for us here in this community, I mean, we've heard the rumors. We all know that dealer, Windows Central, all of them, they said 12 teraflop. There was always a little bit of like, we think it's 12 teraflops. That was the target, right? But, I'm just sitting there driving and I got a notification on my phone. It said 12 teraflops confirmed. I'm like, wait, what? And then you dive into it and you really look at what some of these graphics cards are pushing out and the price that they're at and how many like teraflops that they are. 12 teraflops, even by most people's computers, like standards, is huge. It is so big. In fact, shout out to Work the Game. I watch all your guys' videos. My friend Jesse, he also watches Boom and Work the Game as well. My friend Jesse, shout out to him. He listens to all these shows. He just bought a computer late last year, maybe mid last year. He spent about $2,000 on it. Wow. And he told me the specs and all that stuff like that. And he's loving it. He absolutely loves it. He loves the fact that he can play Microsoft first party and stuff like that. Well, with the price of that PC and then the PC that I used, I got news for you. This little compact Xbox is going to at least really kick my PC's butt, and it might kick his butt too. We just compared the specs. That's how big of a deal this is. Nice. $500 or $600 is practically highway robbery. I'm sorry. It is almost like stealing. It is such a good deal.
Do you think it's going to be $500 or $600? Like,
I think it's going to. I think because Microsoft is in a position financially in the market that they are going to release it at $499, and I think they have to do that because they are really going to put a squeeze. I mean, think about this for a second, right? You harken back to 2013, and Sony. They were so smart. They were so sharp. They pulled that camera, which we knew was in the box, and they dropped the console to $399. Yeah. Then they went back in and started tinkering, and they kind of overclocked a few things. So remember, if you remember that big Digital Foundry thing, that the two blades of grass more, 900p versus 1080p. Yeah. This is how you trade games, right? And it was a snowball that turned into an unstoppable force that led Sony through the entire generation. And if you look at what Microsoft is doing, if you look at the dominoes that Phil Spencer has been putting up since post E3 2018, it is going to be a big splash. Now, again, Lockhart is real. We have that on good authority from our very good friend Dealer Gaming, who knows a thing or two, and also, by the way, knows quite a few people within Microsoft. We've heard Colt talk about it. We've heard Randall Thor talk about it. We've even heard Brad Sams talk about that it's real. So if they could figure out a way to do a dual, or like I like to call it, a two-pronged attack for the next generation. And I've been calling this, and people can go back 3 months, 4 months, 5 months. I've been calling the Xbox Series S, or of course Lockhart, if you want to call it that, their Trojan horse. Because as we all know, as gamers and podcasters and content creators, it's not the diehards that rule the roost. It is not. We are the minority. We're the loudest, but we are the minority. 80%, and it might be 85% of Sony's, 110 million by now are the casual market, right? Forte, you yourself always talk about that 30 million that left, right? They left PlayStation X. I mean, they left the Xbox 360. to go to the PlayStation 4 for price and power. Even if Microsoft only gets half of those gamers back, a pretty cheap, more powerful than the Xbox X currently for $300 with a 3-month card that's rumored to be in the box of every console sold, you as a gamer, the value is unheard of.
Mm-hmm.
And when I say it like that, when I put it out there, Chris, am I lying when I say this?
I think you're cutting Phil Spencer short to call him tripod. Like, if you're gonna call him tripod, just trust him to swing for the fences. He said in interviews that he was gonna swing harder. He said in interviews he's going for billions, not millions.
Yes,
Yeah.
he did.
He's trying to take on Google and Amazon.
Yeah, and that was that interview in and of itself. I know everybody was like mad, and they're like, "How could he say that?" It's like, it's because PlayStation and Nintendo are out of alignment. They're still going to exist. I'm still going to own that hardware.
Sure.
That's why Sony teamed up with Microsoft to the shock of all of PlayStation. Like, Sony's like, no way were we going to invest billions and billions and billions and the tens of billions of dollars on some cloud infrastructure. Let's team up with you. And the question that I have is, where's Nintendo going? Nintendo's going to have its hardware, but I think just like how you see Nintendo on mobile, at some point, Google, Amazon, and Microsoft are going to be knocking at that door, and that dollar amount for their shareholders is just going to be like, yeah, you don't even have to give them modern Nintendo games. Just talk about the back catalog, and it's like, here you go.
Yeah,
it's going to be nuts to see what happens with that.
Yeah, I think to that point, I mean, with things like xCloud, a lot of people, do see it as just something on the side, but there is entire like regions that is the only thing they will do. I mean, people say they won't use xCloud, they won't get on their cellular phone or their tablet and buy a game. I say that's kind of crap. Yeah, they're going to buy games, they're going to subscribe to XPass and get all these games that they can play. There's going to be more and more devices.
If they have to subscribe, like, it's literally probably going to be free. It's like, when you look at it, it's like it's going to be that. Like, there's going to be some, there's obviously going to be something there. But to point it out, like you're saying, Pete, like when gamers are sitting here saying, like, I'm not going to do that. Microsoft was right in 2013. We're all playing digital games now. Like, absolutely. The last number was 88% of market share is digital. Like, I might have that number wrong, but it's like, I remember just recently, it was absurd.
It was a staggering number for sure.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Sorry.
The last physical game I bought was on Xbox One. It was Tomb Raider Definitive Edition. That was the last game I bought. Wow.
I love it. That's great. That's classic.
But yeah, no, dude, this news, I mean, what it did for me was, I mean, like I said, we kind of knew the 12 teraflops thing. It was amazing hearing about it. But what this does to me is this just tells me, no matter if it's third party or if it's Microsoft's first party, they have the best tools available to really push things as far as they possibly can in gameplay, graphics. I mean, whatever innovations they want to try to push. I mean, there's some things like that AI upscaling. I saw like I guess a theoretical picture of what it could do and was like, wow, that's pretty incredible. And all these side things like the is it VRS or variable rate shading?
Yeah, the variable rate shading and the AMMD or whatever it was.
Yeah, so all of these things are going to be like side ventures on top of just raw power. So you're getting the raw power plus all these extra things that just further and further enhance the frame rates and the playability, the low delay into the controller. I haven't used it, I haven't touched it, but that's a big deal, especially for certain genres of games and stuff like that, like fighting games. If you can get fighting games, like the fighting game community, if there is zero delay.
Bring them back. Like the fact we don't have Street Fighter still on the platform is still like I'm a huge fighter fan, and you never see it on my channel, but it's like I love fighters, and I'm like, where's Street Fighter 5? Let's go.
Yeah. So there's that. I mean, for me personally, I mean, he is plugging every hole that the ecosystem had in it, even before they came out and he laid it all on the ground, if you know what I mean, and said, hey, this is what it is. He gave me Phantasy Star Online 2, something I've wanted to play for 8 years.
Hell yes.
For 8 years. I remember trying it on the Japanese version, and I just, that was 8 years ago, and I was like, I can't do this.
Does Microsoft buy Sega or like another Japanese studio? Because they got to get a foothold in Japan.
You know what? I'm going to go the other route here. I think the underdog, I guess, a region, if you will, or area where I think gaming, South Korea.
Yeah,
I think that's where they need to attack. The people there are this is their life. I mean,
Well,
there's
they
a
are.
lot of people.
They signed a couple South Korea studios. They announced that at last year's E3. They also signed with Samsung. You're going to be seeing xCloud on your Samsung TV and on your Samsung phone natively installed. Like it's like that deal in and of itself. It's like we're all talking about 12 Tera Flops. I'm like, they are making moves. And like I said this like a couple years ago, and I was like, you have no idea what is about to happen. Like getting their butt kicked and handed to them this generation has been the best thing for gamers because they've woken a sleeping giant. And with Phil Spencer at the lead, with the full approval, like he just reports to the CEO. There's no more, no. Like, how do we do gaming? Because it's such an important thing. And if it wasn't, you would not see Google and you would not see Amazon about to step into the arena. In this regard. So it's mind blowing to see like all these other, like these little like things that no traction. Like, xCloud, Samsung. Like, okay, like what's that?
I know.
Yeah,
you see that. I saw that and I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, I guess I got to upgrade my Samsung phone. I got to get that S20. But no, yeah, it's awesome, man. I don't know what else to say. I just there's really nowhere you can look. I mean, people, like I said, we're going, and you are all right. Content is king, absolutely. But like, give them a chance. They just got these studios, a couple years ago. The games are coming, and a lot of people are like, well, they're not proven. I'm like, well, yeah, they're not proven, but like I said, you gotta give them a chance. And if the games aren't 9 out of 10s, you're still gonna have your third party and all that stuff that's going to look the best it possibly can on the system. So
as long as Phil Spencer and they give the teams the room, like you got to have, obviously I'm a software engineer. It's like I live in this world. You're sitting here day to day. Like you got to have a plan. You got to have your burn down chart because you got to know where you're going. Leadership is key. Vision is key. That all being said, sometimes things take longer than they should or that you want them to. One of the things that I definitely applaud Sony for is with their proven studios, giving them the breadth of time to get it done right. Don't rush when they have to delay it by months. Right. You don't like whether it's delayed by months or a year, but that's also in its marketing. Don't tell me about games that I might be playing Square Enix in 10 years. Like when they announced Final Fantasy VII Remake, I'm gonna move my mic so people can see my face. When they announced Final Fantasy VII Remake, I go, all right, I'll see you in 2020. And oh my gosh, I was like, oh, I wish I was wrong.
You might be wrong. What if it's 2021? It's not out yet. We don't know. There could be more delays. Cyberpunk could be the most anticipated game of 2019, 2020, 2021.
Now, I want to address a thing from Chris. He's saying Ginger Prime, which is also me. Says, didn't Microsoft, buy the marketing right or buy the rights for Phantasy Star Online 2 for North America? They're the reason it's coming here. Like, yes, they are the reason. And Phil Spencer has said that he's not going to prevent it to go from PlayStation 4 and that is actually one of the coolest things ever. It's not about exclusives anymore. And I know there's this old mindset, and it's going to be a transition. Like here in let's just put a crazy number on it, 15, 25 years. In some kind of time, exclusives are going to be very seen as anti-consumer. And so Phil Spencer, especially when it comes to third party, like I can see timed exclusives, like, okay, we paid this money, we want to have, the run of it. And then at the same time, when it's a multiplayer game, the best thing for the game, the best thing for the dev, and what Phil Spencer continues to tell me, and that's what I'm hearing, is that the reason you want to be in this ecosystem is we're not going to limit you. So I hope that Phantasy Star Online 2 comes to PlayStation 4 and 5. And, it's like I hope that it goes beyond just its ecosystem, but make it sure it's effing crossplay. Like don't, put another little ecosystem.
Don't wall it off. Yeah.
No, don't wall it off. Let's play together because we're gamers at the core of it. I don't care where you want to play. I don't care where your allegiance lies. Like we can get together and we can kick some monster ass.
Yeah. I just want to say it's like watching a mini game, watching the mic slowly fall. I'm proud.
I keep adjusting it. It's like here we go.
I've been waiting for the achievement to unlock on the stream.
Unlocked.
let me catch up on some of the super chats because I really, it bothers me when I miss them. I feel so guilty. Like I want to, let me just catch up. First of all, Sir X-Man, who's a great friend and a huge supporter of the channel, he drops a $2 super chat and says, all I hope for is that gaming never dies. Dude, this is a business, brother. This gaming is never going to go anywhere. Our very good friend Starlord14 drops an outstanding and very generous $10 super chat, and he says, can Microsoft snatch Moon Studios? Ori is amazing. Listen, I got a feeling they've already done it. And of course, Geezer 1916 with the good job sticker and the $5 super chat. Thank you for your generosity. Let's see. JB Cash drops a $2 super chat. He says, listening from the start, great work. Keep it up. Well, thank you, dude, for being here. And of course, thank you for your generosity and your kind words. It is truly appreciated. Now, look, here's the thing. This wasn't scheduled, but because this panel is so packed with talent, it would almost be a sin among the gaming gods not to ask this question. Now, before we move on to the rumored April event that we're going to be talking about, real quick, Philly Eagle. Now, first of all, thanks so much for being here, dude. Love the comments that you leave me, and also definitely appreciate your generosity. He drops a $10 super chat and says this: no success ever came without failure. PS3 equals failure. PS4 has been groundbreaking. Xbox One launch, failure. X Series X will be groundbreaking. Xbox and PlayStation need each other to bring out their best. Great for gamers. And that is a great point. But here is the question that I posed to our esteemed panel. And Brian, I want you to lead this charge. Now, obviously, this isn't a trolling topic. This is a real fans topic because I'm a Sony fan. Yeah. I just platinum Spider-Man. Nice. I've been playing my PlayStation 4 Pro. In fact, my God of War Special Edition one like crazy. I'm catching up on all the stuff I missed, right? The question that I posed to this incredible panel is this: why is Sony so quiet? And more importantly, is it okay, because PlayStation is the market leader, not to give their fans something? Brian, what are your answers to this question?
If I was chip lead in a poker game, would I show my hand? Absolutely not.
Right.
You know, it's like, so at the end of the day, especially when you look at just gaming in general, especially 2019, it felt like there's a lot of unnecessary drama. It's great for the views. It's great to get your bills paid. But at the end of the day, it's all about action and it's not about talk. When you look at games that are overhyped and things that are overhyped, you know, time and time again, that is something that bites customers and the gaming community in the butt, and only leads to, like, the only people who get paid are the developer, publisher, and the YouTuber who's going to rant about it. And that's essentially what the market with social media has become with it. For Sony, like, if you're not ready to show your hand, don't show your hand. You're already in the power position. You already have the fan base. What they need to be doing, the concern, you know, I don't really have any concerns, but if I was going to label a concern, the concern is that as a part of this transition shift that's happened at corporate level, that they're coming in, they're looking at the cards. The previous corporation was like, we're just running business as usual, and they got replaced, and thus we got crossplay, and thus they've actually been making changes. Changes within development cycle, especially when it comes to hardware, is difficult. So the concern is that they're not ready. You know, and then also you got various things, global politics, and, you know, sickness and, you know, viruses aside, like that's could be slowing development, could be delaying it, could be increasing costs. So, you know, from a company's perspective, they're in a position of strength. No reason to rush and show it. Is it okay not to give fans something? It's disappointing as a Sony fan, like, to sit here and say, I want to know more. It would be really great at some point to have that destination, because it's the same thing with Nintendo. Like, I feel like it's a requirement to be a YouTuber is that every January you got to talk about some theoretical Switch Pro. And that is,
I've talked about it numerous times.
I'm saying it's a requirement. Like, hey, Brian, how do you get in YouTube? So in January, you have to talk about a Switch Pro. It's required. Like, that's the real requirement. You've made it as a YouTuber. But beyond that, like, from Sony's perspective, like, I want them to come out strong. I want them to have the best platform, the right price. And I don't give a crap about power at the end of the day. I want these systems to compete on the services and the quality of, like, the PSN versus Xbox Live. Like, that is where the battle should rage, because that can help drive prices down, can make things more competitive. You can find more deals. So does Sony owe its fans something? At some point, the fan base is going, like, if people are thinking 16 teraflops and they come in at 11, like, yeah, you need to set expectations. That there's a responsibility for us, the fans. We have to somewhat, like, say, yes, let's not get ahead of ourselves. I'm guilty of it. We're all guilty of it. Hype is a hell of a drug. But at some point, you're too quiet for too long, fans are going to fill in the gaps naturally. It's just a way of the world. Like,
well, we saw that today, Brian. We saw that the PlayStation 5 has 16 teraflops.
Right. And tomorrow will be 20. And then like by the time E3 rolls around, it's like the PlayStation 5 like will literally birth your child for you. And it's like, like at some point, like we've left the realm of reality in it. And so from a owning perspective, that's a hard thing to say, because when they're not at E3, so what do you do? Like
they're also not going to be at PAX, and for good reason.
That's
right, for good reason. And GDC going to be at, which could have potentially levied some sort of information on their new hardware.
It's hard because they've already also announced that they're waiting for Xbox to announce its price, which actually kind of in my mind walks back what they said earlier when they're like, no, we've already set this price back in 2013. No. Like, it's like that walks back that like, yeah, they waited to see what Microsoft did. And then they had a plan on the books. Like they said, if Microsoft comes in at this price with this stuff, this is what we show. And it's like, that like when they're saying they're waiting for that price, I was like, it's really hard to say, because I'm glad I'm not in that position, because I don't, we can all speculate on what's going on internally, but as a fan, I'm hungry for information. I want to know when I can pre-order, what it's going to cost me, and how many trips I need to take my wife on to justify that transaction. It's like, all right, babe, like I'm going to get a PS5 and an Xbox Series X, and I'm taking you to Mexico. Like, it's got to be sold in that kind of package for me. So I just need that information so I can book the flights.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, look, the bottom line is, obviously, and I see a lot of people going in the chat, going back and forth with, what do you mean, Boom? They have games coming out. Xbox doesn't have no games. Look, I said it in the opening, and I'll say it again. No one on this panel, and I believe no one in this chat, is detracting from the fact that Sony's 2020 lineup is as stout, possibly even better than what they did in 2018, right? The Last of Us 2 is going to be a modern day masterpiece. Ghost of Tsushima is going to be potentially a modern day masterpiece. They have Final Fantasy VII for an entire year as an exclusive. I can't wait. I'm going to beat it on the PlayStation 4, and I'm going to beat it on the Xbox, one of my favorite games of all time. Okay. And then you have the little ones in there, right? You have like the Neo 2. Now, again, I'm going to buy Neo 2, right? I loved the first one, even though I'm terrible at the Souls games. Loved Neo 1 because I played it like an Onimusha game. That's how I was able to power through it. So I'm going to get 2, but that's also a very niche audience. They're probably going to sell about 1.5, maybe 2 million of that. Most people are going to stay away because of its difficulty. So obviously, Final Fantasy VII, not an exclusive, but it's an exclusive now. Their 2 main gems in their crown for this year are what we just talked about. So no one is detracting from what Sony is going to do for the PlayStation community. No one's saying that. But you cannot sit on the sideline and come out of your face and say, well, I'm okay with Sony not telling me shit. I don't care. I have this coming out. Why should they talk about the PlayStation 5? Because the PlayStation 5 is 8.5, 9 months away. That's why.
Well,
they're not.
Sony's also earned it the right, like in my mind. And just to add on to that, like they've continued delivered, especially since they've ramped up.
Yes,
you have there's a trust there. Like I trust that Sony's going to deliver it. I don't need to see evidence of it because I trust the whole gaming situation. Especially let's take it into microtransactions real quick. Like gamers, microtransactions bad. Well, except unless I trust the developer, I'm going to root for them. They're going to release their sales and I'm going to be their number one cheerleader. But if I don't trust them, if I'm skeptical of them, it's the same approach. Sony's earned the trust. Microsoft is re-earning the trust.
Yes,
and
great
trust
point.
is the greatest currency that we have within this industry, because you see with anything, like look at Bethesda. Bethesda praised, lost the trust. Bethesda bad. And then it's like all these things that they've done in the past, like, oh man, that was bad. But no, it wasn't bad at the time because you trust them. You trust them to make it right. You trust them to fix the problems. You trust them to deliver a product that gives you that you're excited about and that you will cheer on. Gamers are the best champions and also the worst enemies sometimes for these companies. but it's all centered around that concept of trust. People have trust in PlayStation based off of their track record. So like I said, to expand on my answer, they trust that they're going to deliver something amazing for PlayStation 5. And that's, we're just going to have to see. I trust that the PS5 is going to be great, but that's, but I do want more information, especially as a YouTuber.
Yes, it certainly helps power the channels when we get this rock solid information. Chris, I want to go to you next on this, because obviously, again, if I were to put this title in a chat, if I would put this title on as a YouTube header, immediately the hate mail would flood in, when we've completely already said that it's not meant to be a trolling topic. It's asking a question. What are your personal thoughts on why Sony has been so quiet? Obviously, we heard them publicly say we're waiting on Microsoft, right? And then, of course, that Bloomberg article comes out and kind of really puts the damper on the $399 console that everyone swore up and down was coming, and they were going to beat the hell out of Microsoft in not only power but price too. And it's not going to happen, because we know that right now, without marketing, without shipping, without packaging, the console costs $470 to make. So if you tack on another $30 for those three things I just mentioned, it's a $500 price point. They're not taking $100 dump for every console they sell. It's just not going to happen. But for you, as answering for a Sony fan, is it okay for Sony to continue on with the silence, kind of putting their head in the sand?
They did take a bath on PS3 launches. That's why we got the new slimmer PS3s with the emulator chips. At the time, I worked at GameStop, so I knew they were coming. So I bought my PS3 prior to it releasing, the new ones. So I have a dual chipset PS3, which is incredible. Sits below my PS4, which sits next to my Xbox One X. So I think, first of all, this whole it has to be one side or the other, this can all be good news for gaming, and gaming moving forward is the most important thing. I don't really care whose name is in the headline of the good news, as long as we as gamers are getting good news. So this can be a great generation for more than one company. It's not like, if Xbox Series X is amazing, then the PS5 has to be garbage. That doesn't mean that. But I would say that, Brian hit a couple good points that Sony's not really in a position where they have to spin up the hype train.
Right.
And then I would also point out, when we look at what you define as a win, these companies aren't the same company. We compare Xbox to PlayStation 5 because they're similar products. You buy them in the same stores, you buy them for the same purpose, you buy them around the same price point, and most people usually buy one or the other. It's very few of us that have the desire and are blessed enough to have the disposable income to have a whole line of consoles, that I never get rid of any of them. And I just, that's not the average user. The average user has to pick one or the other. And when you look at these companies, Microsoft is a software company. That's what they do. They do software solutions up and down. So when you look at them pushing xCloud, when you look at them pushing Game Pass, when you look at them pushing crossplay, get off our hardware. We don't care. We're going to make our money. It's fine. Go be happy. When you look at Sony, they're a hardware company. Every Xbox that sells pays Sony money because they own Blu-ray technology.
Yes.
There is not a device. There are so many devices in your house.
Every game that sells on PlayStation, pretty much they play Microsoft because it was Visual Studio. Sorry.
So I think the vast majority of hardware in your house has either a Samsung or a Sony product in it, or both.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't matter what name was on the box, what name was in the instructions. That stuff's all in there. Your iPhone is a Samsung screen. So the Sony doesn't lose here. It's just, how big do they win? Because they're a hardware company, and we're all talking about hardware news. Hardware is good for Sony. Sony doesn't lose in hardware. So I would say, first of all, focus on the difference in the way these companies function, before you even look at how Xbox is positioning itself against PlayStation. The second is we aren't owed announcements as gamers. And at the end of the day, most gamers don't watch conferences. You just look at the numbers. The Twitch streams don't represent the number of sales sold. There aren't 60 million people watching a conference, and yet we can sell 60 million copies of a game. So the math says Gamers get their news through headlines. They get them through clickbaity YouTubes. That's it. And your question there's too long for a YouTube title, so we would have to slim it down, which means we'd have to take information out of it. So gamers get partial bits of information, and then they just move on with their lives because we just want to play games.
Yes,
that's
at
what
the
it
end of the
comes
day, it's all
down
about
to.
the games. Sure,
just want to play games. So I don't know that it matters if there's announcements or not announcements, as long as there's something eventually. Yes, over time they would erode enough hype, but right now the fact that PlayStation fanboys are out commenting on Xbox news tells you that PlayStation doesn't have to make an announcement because they're getting publicity and they didn't do anything.
no, it's true.
Their
It's a great
fans
point.
are out there evangelizing. They're proud to be PlayStation fans, and PlayStation hasn't given them anything to work with, and they're doing it anyway. And then the last thing is you keep talking about pricing. I don't know that we're going to get too many more console generations, true generations. The Xbox Series 1X will not be the last piece of hardware released by Xbox. They've already confirmed that in an interview. But I mean generation in the Xbox 360 to Xbox One where there's a divide. I think with this backwards compatibility, you no longer have to be up to date. If nobody in this chat buys an Xbox Series 1X because we all own a 1 or an S or an X, my X is wonderful. I might not buy a Series X depending on the price point on launch. I might wait for it to come down a bit. I'll still be able to play all the same games. So if they need to release it at $700 to make money, that's fine. They're not going to lose me as a gamer because my Xbox regular X is going to power all the same games. So I'm not really worried about pricing now that we have backward and forward compatibility on the table from Xbox, assuming PlayStation can match that. I don't know that they can this time around, but that's the big thing in the room for me. It's not so much these generations. It's about like what's changing dynamically. Xbox is saying, no, we don't. I don't have to win or lose the race because I'm not in the race anymore. I'm just going to go do my own thing with my own rules.
Well, at the end of the day, they'd rather sell you the copy of the game.
Right.
Sorry, what did you say, Boom?
I said at the end of the day, they'd rather say the copy of the game than the hardware.
Yep.
It's maybe not even that. They just want you in the ecosystem. They rather have you than just buying one game for $60 and never being around. Let me just, that's $60 a year. As opposed to like, hey, Game Pass, now you're doing $120 a year and you have access to all of these different games. And the studies that they've done have shown like not only are you that, but you're now even buying more games on top of that because you're actually experiencing things, which breaks a lot of the stronghold of this review culture. Review culture, like I think we were talking earlier, like we want some 9s and 10s. Like who doesn't? That's exciting. That's something you can cheer behind. That's
Metacritic.
Right. Metacritic sucks ass. Like honestly, one of the things, like just as like a slash rant, Yoshi P with Final Fantasy 14 Shadowbringers told his devs that we're not going to do bonuses based off of the Metacritic score, and they delivered the highest rating Metacritic game for an MMORPG in history. I think the Metacritic bull
is the number one Metacritic score all year.
Yeah, and it's and I think there's a psychological mindset behind it. Like when you're starting to attach financial gain from your developers to some theoretical opinion that people are going to have of your game,
one person can crash,
and one person can just wreck. Yeah, and it happens. We've seen the review bombing happen this year alone. But all that being said is that I've played, like I used to be somebody who was like, I'm not going to play it unless it's a 9 or above, and I missed out on so many good games. I was wrong. In that regard, like my youth in that regard, like I never want to be that guy again. And so my resolution for 2020 is I'm going to play more games. And a lot of people are saying it. They're like, how do you play so many games? I'm like, well, I'll probably make a video about how I actually play so many more games.
So you never played those horrible Mobile Suit Gundam games that were?
You said mobile? Like, no, I don't play mobile games. Mobile games are trash.
I meant that's just the series. Gundam.
I play mobile games.
Yeah, he does. He can waste his time on that. Like, I'm like, no.
Oh, I fall in the 80% majority. Yeah,
I know.
I'm really worried about my position over
goodness.
here.
Well, look, let me continue with the panel because first of all, Chris and Brian, you guys have completely just not only won me over as being like even more of a diehard fan to your work. Gotta say, I really appreciate the unbelievable banter that you have brought with you for today's show. And as we cross into the 600 watching live realm, which is still giving me goosebumps saying it out loud, I want to go to Wilmy Hood. Now, Wilmy, obviously, again, I like your opinion because it's raw and it's focused. But what I appreciate about it more is you talk from a business perspective. In your opinion, why is Sony so quiet? And are their fans not loud enough asking for the information?
To some of these guys, man, this is almost like a religion. They just follow every little word, and they don't really care. They don't have to see proof. I don't really think Sony has to show anything yet, but is that ego going to cause them problems? They may wait too long. Some people may jump ship, not enough to really matter, but I don't know, man. They're not showing anything. I mean, a logo, come on. But then again, Microsoft showed their cards really early, during the VGAs. That was the best part of the entire show, was when Phil Spencer came out. I mean, nobody cared about the Fast and the Furious game. I mean, look at it. But
it was awful.
that
was
bad.
awful.
It was terrible, man. And they were hyping it up, and everybody knows. I mean, I've posted the pictures. I have 3 PlayStation 4s in my house, and I have 6 Xboxes, and I have 2 gaming PCs. But I will buy it regardless. But they just need to say something. Maybe they are holding back a little bit to try to see what Microsoft's doing. This is kind of where you came in earlier, calling him Tripod Phil. I mean, Phil's throwing it out there, man. He doesn't really care at this point.
Yeah.
And like somebody in the chat was saying earlier, Phil's coming out just beating him in the head. And he is, with a giant Xbox penis. He's not playing around at this point.
Like Todd Howard with integrity.
No, I just want you to know that no other show on earth are you going to hear Xbox penis.
Exactly. And, I mean, you can look at it either way from Sony. I mean, a lot of us can say, well, they don't have to show anything. And then, the real hardcore Xbox fanboys, which I guess that means us too, boom. We can say, well, they're scared, or they're waiting to see, what Microsoft shows. So, I mean, I don't know, man. If it were me, I would say something. But, I own a multi-state business. I have a lot of employees and subcontractors. We have to get our name out there. We have to let people know what we do. And I've been around just as long as Sony, sadly. I've been in business 27 years. I mean, you've got to put something out there, man, or customers forget who you are and what you do and what you bring to the table. I do believe we'll see something soon. I'm hoping. But as far as Microsoft, I mean, I think in April, we're going to see Lockhart.
Yeah, me too.
But I'm really hoping for something from Sony, but I don't know, man.
They'll
It's
trickle out
not
some
looking
trailers.
good.
They got to make up for the stuff that they were going to say at conferences.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they've got to do something. I mean, do a live stream. Put something on YouTube. That way, everybody can.
Nintendo does it, and they do. When they do their Treehouse events, they're all taped, right? They just put them out there. And when you look at the most viewed E3 videos, it's usually Nintendo's Treehouse event because listen. At the end of the day, most of us, especially on this panel, and a lot of people in the chat, we're the older generation, so we grew up with Nintendo. So maybe if you don't play the Switch as much as you'd like, you're still tuning in. I know I haven't missed a Treehouse event in years because you know what? I'm still waiting for Metroid Prime 4. I'm still waiting.
Actually,
you know what I'm saying? I mean, it's if Nintendo can do it, Sony could find a way to do it where they get it done. I mean, listen, again, I think what really makes this bigger than it is simply because Sony has been in the gamer's face this entire generation, like up in your grill the entire generation, and they've lived there. And this silence for a lot of people is, like I said earlier, deafening. Now, Chris, is there anything else you'd like to add before I move on to Gaming Forte?
No. I mean, I'm interested in seeing what everybody else thinks. I think to finish on kind of what you said there, I would say that Sony does need to make a statement, but that could be through live streams, that could be through trailers. If for no other reason than they owe that to the studios they were going to promote at those events. When you have things like Last of Us that's supposed to have a demo on the floor, that's a huge loss to the community. So even if it's not for us, the fans, I would love to see more from the games. I would love to see more released. I think that, you know, the dev studios don't deserve to be kind of lumped in with the silence when they're unfortunately forced to cancel a presence at these events.
My God, this guy speaks a lot of logic. You got to have him on more often. But
Yeah, he definitely is.
He's often very hated because it's like Chris comes off with like the reason and logic. Everybody's like, no.
Well, you know, logic
doesn't
work on
or a
podcast,
fanboy.
man. You got to hate on everything. You can't be positive. This is the gaming community, dude. It doesn't work.
Don't be positive live on the air. How dare you? Gaming Forte, I want to go to you next on this because obviously you yourself have admitted publicly, and you stand strong on this, that Sony doesn't necessarily have to do anything because they are the market leader, and because that you are in retail, you know what's coming in and out of the store. You know what the people are buying. But at some point, as a fan base, even though that a good portion is just, you know, they're just the casual gamers and maybe they're not in tune to podcasting. Maybe they don't read the headlines. Hell, maybe they don't even know what Twitter is. You know, I mean, I'm not being facetious, but
sounds like
isn't it coming to a point where Sony owes it to their fans that have been supporting them, that is the loudest community? I mean, let's call a spade a spade. The PlayStation community is loud and they're proud. And they haven't had anything to rally around. I mean, yes, again, we know that the big games are coming, but that's all we know. What are your thoughts on this, dude? Oh, you're muted, brother.
Look at me up here talking and can't even be heard.
Okay,
look, you're absolutely right. I still hold the belief that Sony doesn't have to say anything. But like I said last week, it's getting to a point where if you let Microsoft say too much, people's ears start going in a different direction. And that is something that Sony has to deal with and battle with over the course of whatever time length or they have to basically release their system or just announce the system, what actually it is. I don't think Sony's cocky or anything. I just think there's been so much movement in that company in literally the last 6 months that is very unprecedented. You know, there's no Sean Layton, there's no Andrew House,
right? There's
no Jack Trenton, there's no Boyce there anymore. So all the people that you have that you saw,
Yoshida's been demoted.
Yeah, demoted in so many ways. So all the people that you literally came to like say, this is who PlayStation is to me, it's completely removed from the situation now. So now you have Jim Ryan, and take him or leave him because the man has said so many crazy things over the last year and a half to 2 years, going all the way back to his crossplay stuff. I just feel
saving the kids.
Saving the kids. That man for saving the kids. But I just think overall, I hear what everybody keeps saying. Sony does have a lot of games that's still coming out the generation. I know this is a next gen conversation, but that still matters to them. Like when they announced and they were talking about the PS4, when they brung up the in April of last year, when they started talking about SSDs and how much faster it's going to be, because pretty much that's the one thing that you know for 100% that Sony believes they have a decisive advantage in, because that's the one thing they talk about the most. Their proprietary SSDs that's going to make it so load times are non-existent. Right. Now, how much better they're going to be compared to what the Xbox is doing with standard SSDs, I don't know. I mean, what you going to shave with an extra 10 seconds off my load times? They're already going to be fast. So no one really knows what that's going to be, but that's what they only really completely talked about. So for me, they kept saying we still have a lot to do with PlayStation 4. And they said that towards the latter part of last year, even through the middle of it, we still got a lot of stuff for PlayStation 4 on the horizon. For me, if they take too long, more of those people that are on the fence are going to find other ways of going to other systems and stuff. If their friends get coerced to do it, that's how the movement to another system happens. That's how so many people left PS3 or Xbox 360 and went to PS3 or PS4. just because of that. You know, when I talk about that 30 million people, that 30 million happened because Microsoft allowed, through a fault of their own, bad marketing, bad press stuff, just talking completely asinine. But now if you think about it now, it seems like they were 100% right because they knew where this was going. They were just a little too early to the party for it.
They also didn't invite us along. They said this is how it is. Gamers weren't ready to understand the message, and they didn't show. And it's all about show rather than tell.
Exactly.
They sit here and showed like, here's how you here's how you share your games digitally. Here's how you do all this family stuff. Like I like me and my wife, we buy one copy of the game. We have one thing of Xbox Live Gold. We play the same games because my home Xbox is the Xbox she plays on, and I log into my other Xbox and we game together, and that's just how it works for us. And I love that aspect. But like they went in and said, like, here's the line in the sand, get on it. And a gamer said, I'm not ready to. I don't understand it. Like, why should I get on it? And they didn't sell us. They didn't show us the value of the future. And then here we are 7 years later going, well, they were right. Like, it's like, I don't go to a physical, like I know there are people who will, and in 20 years there still will be people who go and buy a physical copy. But anyway, Forte, you were saying, I was just like, yeah,
like, he still buys physical.
Still buys physical. He's such an anomaly.
No, there's more. There's like 17 of these days here. Switch is the only game I do that for, honestly, because Switch games hold their value more than anything else. So
they certainly do. So if
they're worth holding
you
on,
can trade those some bitches in and get a lot of loot.
Yes, because when the Switch Pro comes out, that's where most of those games are going. So, but no, for me, it's just dangerous at this point. They don't have to do anything, but the longer they wait, the more of an uphill battle they're going to have because, like you said, 16 Tera Flops is going to turn into 18 in a minute, and more people are going to be thinking like, oh, well, we know what the Xbox has. And then if let's say that PlayStation comes in and it's like this rumor 16 is real, and if Sony comes out and says 9.5, so then the narrative is going to be, oh, they undersold, it's underpowered and all this other stuff.
I was gonna buy it, but now that it's not 30 teraflops,
exactly, I was gonna buy it. Now it's not 30. So
great.
So perfect is my biggest thing is I put it on Twitter today. I said, why does the conversation always have to be about Sony either being broke or scared? Because they're not either one of those things.
No, they're certainly not.
They're not broke or scared.
No.
But 9.5 teraflops or more isn't going to make this generation, because teraflops is basically the buzzword right now.
Yes,
it's a great talking point. It's something that they don't even put it on the box, so they just let you. They put 4K on the box before they put teraflops on the box. So that kind of just lets you know that this is just a buzzword right now. What's going to matter is the experiences that you get when you turn on that system day one. That's all that's going to matter. Now, if PlayStation 5 is going to sell through the door no matter what. When it comes out, it's going to sell to the hardcore. Same thing with the new Xbox when it comes out. The difference is going to be, what is the strategy for both of these platforms to get that 30 million people to either come to this system or that system? Because that's basically the only thing they're fighting for, because I do believe the pie is 200 to 250 to 300 million total for console. Probably that number can grow 200 to 300 million if you think just in console terms, because the Xbox
across all consoles.
Yeah, across all consoles.
Like it's about 110 million. And then
across all consoles. I'm just saying, you talk about across all consoles. So
gotcha.
Because Xbox One, Xbox 360, PS3, and Wii probably was the biggest adoption rate, because everybody had all three of them.
Yeah, they're shooting for billions now.
Yeah, and that's the biggest thing. They're shooting for billions now. So Microsoft is saying Sony is out of alignment. So is Nintendo. We want this bigger pie. So how do we get the bigger pie?
Yeah.
And they're doing the things to get the bigger pie. And I always say, the reason I love what Microsoft is doing is because they're running with the core competencies of the company. They are a software company that makes software. Sony is a hardware company, like everybody kept saying, that makes hardware. Right. So of course Sony cares about the hardware side a little bit more, because that's their wheelhouse. They have to care about that, because that's how they show to their fans that this is how we're successful as a company. Where Microsoft is saying, hey, guess what? We got our nose bloody this generation. We can't compete with them in this arena. Let's go to a different one. And while we're doing it, we're going to tackle some of the bigger giants that's trying to come into our ecosystem and take what's ours.
Yeah.
And they're basically gatekeeping at this point. So I think it ultimately is going to come down to who has the better software. We know what's coming with the PS5. What our PS5? We know what's coming with PS4. We don't know what PS5 has to offer. We know Halo's coming day one in the box with every Xbox, along with Game Pass. That's ultimately what's going to set the narrative, and we'll see what Microsoft has to do going after that. And Sony we just have to wait and see. But I'm patient. I'm patient.
I mean, listen, it's going to be interesting to see. Look, let me just say this. If you are a gamer, and I'm not being facetious once again, gamers win, folks.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if you are a multi-tiered console supporter, give yourself, pardon my French, a fucking round of applause because you win. You're going to have games. You're going to have if your backlog is as gross as mine is, it's just going to get bigger. So regardless of what flag you fly, this particular program, this particular channel welcomes one and all, as long as you're not a dick and don't come into my chats, start rogging up the place. Everyone is welcome. But
I'm a bad influence on you, man.
No, it's okay. Listen, I gotta curse every now and again to make sure
just to give it some
that
spice.
I don't get any COPA strikes. I can't afford a $43,000 ticket. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, exactly.
So
not for no mother kids.
Wilmy, did I get to you on this point? Yeah, I think I got you. Let me move on to
I have a hypothetical.
Let me move on to Cybernox. Cybernox, let me get your opinion on this, because obviously you have a fantastic channel and you also are very vocal in the community. What are your personal takes on Sony's silence? Can they continue it?
Well, I won't beat the dead drum. Everybody pretty much had fantastic points, and I kind of agree with Brian Forte a little bit. Sony's in the driver's seat. They really don't need to do much, but I will say that they need to be careful, because just like Forte alluded to, the less they say, the more people start seeing more and more of the other product. Wilmy also alluded to that. You have to put your business out there. And they also have to be careful because Microsoft is laying it all out on the table. Phil put his pants down, baby. He put it all out there. So if
the
Sony
Xbox penis.
Exactly. So if Sony comes out,
I can't.
Yeah. If Sony comes out and they under-deliver or they underwhelm their fan base, how are they going to react? How is that fan base going to react? I've always mentioned to everybody here, and I'll say it again, the biggest hurdle they have going to the PlayStation 5 is transitioning all the hundreds of millions PS4 owners to the PS5. That's going to be the biggest hurdle, because the PS4s, and to Sony's credit, they're like a detriment to their own success. You know, they're a victim of their own success. They're able to push that systems to such high fidelity on some games that going to the PS5, there's people buying PS4s right now, and the only thing that I can think of that they have on their back pocket is going to be the price. That's why they're waiting for Microsoft. And they just have to be careful, because the more and more that they don't talk about it, the more and more Microsoft looks more appealing to everybody else.
No, I mean, you make up a lot of great points. And closing out this topic, and this wasn't supposed to be a big one, but we take up 37 minutes of the show, because it's important to bring Sony into the conversation, because quite frankly, Sony has put themselves out of the conversation. So as content creators, we want to talk about it. You know, Tempest Son, you are a man who works for himself. You own your own business, and obviously, working for yourself, you are required to put your business card out there, do the work, and let it be known to people of how how much quality work that you do. And Sony, obviously, their quality work has been the dominant first-party success that they have had the entire generation. The console sales cannot be denied, but at the same time, their fans are starving, eager to know anything. And if you look what they've done, that PlayStation 5 logo reveal was embarrassing. Like Jim Ryan, if you've watched it, I'm embarrassed for that man. He paused and expected, I guess, a round of applause, and there you could hear a fly buzzing. And they haven't had much. The fans want something. When do you think they break their silence?
Oh gosh, when? Oh well, it was February 5th, right?
Yeah.
Oh wait,
yeah.
no, that's not possible. We're past that. No, I don't know, man. I be honest with you. I hope soon, just for the fans' sake, really. I mean, I can't say too much more than what everybody else has. Besides, I think they don't owe their fans anything, but they are their customers, and these customers they keep buying things, and they just. I think. Look, they signed on the dotted line. They're going with Azure servers. Their biggest competitor, Microsoft. They're like, hey, help us out, please. For like their server stuff. They're not going to win in power. It's kind of known. I'm hoping they're rectifying it, but it's kind of known that they don't really come out with like multiplayer centric games, at least first party ones. They do have some serious single player bangers, and that's what they're really, really good at. I don't feel like they're coming this launch. I don't know who's going to release what studio's ready to release their next game. But I think they need to I think that's what they're doing is they need to find their narrative. They need to find what they're going to excel at this time, and they just need to direct the marketing there. Do they need to show something? I mean, no, they don't. I mean, we see it on Twitter all day long. Trust me. Sony has so many fans of the PlayStation. It's ridiculous. They are the market leaders. That is for sure. So they don't have to, but I just think it would be nice to. I mean, even if it's not a first party, banger, if you will, Godfall. I mean, we've barely seen anything of that game.
But on PC too.
Yeah, on PC too.
Yeah.
That's true, but it's something not on the Xbox ecosystem
That we know.
So, that we know of. Yeah, exactly. So they just need to go that route. I mean, rather Godfall or anything else. They're going to have games. I mean, it's just simply not possible for them to launch a system without at least a few games. So focus in on those. When they finally reveal this thing, I don't even think they're going to go over specs, to be honest with you. They're going to go over features and stuff like that. Do they ever even mention the word 9.2 teraflops? I actually highly doubt it. It's going to be found out. People are going to find out what the specs are.
Yeah,
but
you
they're not
don't
going to
come in
advertise
saying
it.
Yeah, you don't be like, hey, we're 9.2.
Yeah, there's no
same
way.
price point. Like people are like, what? Like
Exactly.
it's a number that it's obviously one's bigger than the other. And you're like, wait a minute.
Right. So I don't know. I've said it. It does look, on the outside like Sony's between a rock and a hard place, but it is Sony. They've been around. I've owned every one of their systems. I think most people here have owned every single one of Sony's consoles, and
even the handhelds.
Even the handhelds. I've owned the PSP and the Vita. Yeah, I have. Yep. So, they're not going anywhere. They're going to be okay. I just think this time they're not going to slaughter the competition, and that's probably a good thing for everybody if it's neck and neck. I mean,
I have a hypothetical for the panel. Like, what if, obviously with the coronavirus, like, what if PS5 is legitimately delayed? Like, it misses holiday.
It would be a death blow, in my opinion.
Man, there would be so many lists made floating around Twitter we'd never be able to keep up.
Wow.
It's bad now.
I love it.
I mean,
listen, they're probably going to launch within 2 weeks of each other. I think, anyway. I have no inside track, so I can't tell you. But I would imagine they would at least try position it, that 2 week, not more than 2 weeks. If by some chance Sony misses the mark, and this coronavirus is no joke, man. I mean, it is killing, thousands of people, and obviously people matter. Consoles will get eventually. You know what I'm saying? Let's not change the narrative and be ridiculous. Obviously, the safety of people are paramount to the console war shenanigans that rages on a daily basis. But Microsoft, would they be in a position to at least have it out because they have plants in Mexico and Argentina and a few other countries that are not affected, whereas Sony predominantly does their business in China? I don't know, man, but I think that again, listen, whenever the PlayStation 5 comes out, in that console 12 calendar year, they're going to sell 5 million copies. There is no denying.
That's not everyone they can make. Yeah.
Yeah, and if it's a shortage, expect those eBay prices to be through the roof. I hope I would be as a console owner, someone that's looking forward to the PlayStation 5, because obviously I really do enjoy that console for their single player, adult themed, story driven content. Like I really enjoy their games. I would be devastated, but you know what? As we close in on 625 plus people watching, and 1 hour and 45 minutes into this amazing show, I kind of want to just close out the show with what we were talking about earlier. You saw it in the headline. Now, according to the newest rumor, Microsoft is going to apparently fully reveal the Xbox Series X before E3 in its own Microsoft-produced event. The question many in the community are asking is when and what they are going to show. Now, this new information is being reported by a website called thegamepost.com. Now, industry insider Tom Warren of TheVerge.com was answering questions on Reset Era regarding when we could expect Microsoft to reveal more information about their next generation plans. Now, when asked about Microsoft's plans directly, he stated that an event would happen before E3. Now, obviously, as we talked about in the opening of this show, today's bombastic post by Phil Spencer only proves that they are looking to keep the hits drum banging. And of course, I want to continue with our esteemed guests, and I'm going to go to Brian first, and we'll keep it simple. I'm not going to go into ridiculous detail. What are you expecting at this rumored April event, and what do you think they need to show?
I think they need to show Fable if they've got it in a showable state. My hope is that if Fable is also kind of heavily multiplayer version, that would just be if you're talking about my wish list, don't know if that's going to happen. From the perspective, I want to see the dashboard. I want to see games. I want to hear about the launch. The fact that they're going to be coming across generation doesn't bother me whatsoever. But they need to show up with games. That's third party games. That's I'm not so worried about the first party studios that they're spinning themselves up. They need to make sure they give them plenty of time. Don't what was that Dragon game that they showed off and then it ended up just getting canceled. It's don't give me something like that I'm going to be playing within 18 months. If we can make a rule to say don't tell me about games at least until we're sure they're at no more than 18 months away. Beyond that, it's too hard. People build up too much hype. When you look at the YouTube, especially when social media comes in, I have a huge issue as a YouTuber about the YouTube problem. And it comes down to giving YouTubers enough bandwidth. We'll build the game up and we'll hate on it, and so people are going in with the wrong expectations, not knowing what it is, and so it's when you look at just take Apex Legends, they just it has loot boxes, nobody cares, it does fine, they just ninja drop it onto everybody, and it's a good game. At the end of the day, you got to have a good game, and then gamers will forgive pretty much almost any sin that comes along with the game. There's obviously exceptions to the rule, but I would say April feels a little early, but there is E3 to contend with. It depends on how much they want to dominate the news cycle. So either in April, they announce that they've signed a new big streamer to Mixer, or they do the Xbox Series X. You think about how every month, they want to hit the drum every month. So Xbox something is in a headline, is something to be talked about. So everybody's constantly talking about it. It doesn't have to be the console. Now, maybe that's April, maybe that's May. Obviously, we know they're showing up in Force at E3. I hope to God to be there, because it's if this is the last technical, classic E3 or something like that, I'd love to be able to see it firsthand. But beyond that, I think it's about the games. Obviously, we're going to see the next Forza, not the Horizon. I mean, hell, if they did the Horizon, that'd be nuts. But they skipped a whole year for the last Forza.
Motorsport,
Forza Motorsport. That's a staple. We haven't seen Fable in so long. Perfect Dark would be a good classic series that I could see them reinvigorate. Obviously they'll say like, here's your current Xbox games in Game Pass, and here's how they're like, here's how Gears 5 looks in this regards. Here's some new content for all this stuff. I think I would hope that they would announce the Final Fantasy 14 at that time or at E3. They need to be showing up also with like, here's these other studios. Here's these Japanese studios. Here's Capcom. Here's Bandai Namco. If they go and work with Bandai Namco and get a deal on Blue Protocol, I think that would ultimately be just mind blowing. You obviously got Phantasy Star Online 2. They're going to lean into that. They need to show up with a breadth of games, especially in ones that they've been weak against. When you look at Lost Odyssey and you look at Blue Dragon, those are some of the
great games,
best JRPGs, and they've never seen a follow up. Not that they would in this case, but they've already made deals with Square Enix, so you're seeing Final Fantasy. They need to get Dragon Quest on there. And these aren't necessarily going to be games that speak to maybe what people traditionally think is the core, but as a JRPG fan and somebody who primarily plays on Xbox, this last generation's been a little bit dry.
Yeah, to say the least.
And if they could show up and be like, Persona 5, bitches.
Yeah,
it's like
huge on the Xbox.
Massive. So honestly, if I was going to give my litmus test of what I would love, I'd love to see new Killer Instinct. I'd love to see Street Fighter. I love fighting games. Street Fighter, Halo Infinity. I've got my own theories about the game. I think it's probably going to be at best a hybrid Halo game and like Destiny game, where it's like you got your traditional Master Chief campaign, you got your arena multiplayer, and then you got to have this like repetitive, why Phil Spencer keeps playing Destiny and not playing Halo 5. It's like, well, there's all this stuff, that they've baked into the core that I don't know, but I honestly am ready because we play Halo 5 every Wednesday night, me and Chris and my wife and all our friends. Like, that's what we do Wednesday nights. And it's like, I'm looking forward to seeing, the next generation of this, especially with that Slipstream engine. It looks so good. Anyway,
I don't need another game like Halo. Like Destiny in my life. It's
you're going to have to give up one, dude. No doubt about that. Chris, I want to go to you next on this because obviously you are one of our special guests. One of the things that Phil Spencer talked about was going into their back catalog. And that excites me personally because people are already saying in the chat Crimson Skies or Mechasalt or Cameo, which was a fantastic game that nobody played on the Xbox 360. I would love for them to really harken back to those old school games, bring them in a new school way. We think we're getting that with Perfect Dark, but for you, if this event happens, let's say the midway or end of April, what do you personally want Microsoft to show, and what do you think they need to show?
So I think if you're gonna keep the hardware kind of in its own events, so that you can focus more on the games, on the more traditional conventions where they buy a booth like everybody else, I would love to see the hardware in action. So I would love to see, what do you mean by that kind of like instant resume? Can I pull up some 360 games? Like, just pull them up. Just be like, oh yeah. And if you're playing this, and then it just pulls up in like a 1 second load time. Like, if you got it, show it. Because I think that will really, like, if the goal here is to get Sony to play their cards, then you got to just put the ball so far in their court, they have to respond. If you can just kick the ball and be like, oh yeah, are your PS2 games booting up in 1 second? Oh, they're not on there. Oh, that's interesting. Like, just keep going and really show us, like, if it's going to be about gamers, I have all these Xbox 360 games. I have original Xbox games. Like, how are those going to play on this? Why am I going to buy this as a series, as a Xbox One X player? All these names are confusing me. As a Scorpio edition owner, right? Just keep it called Scorpio. As a Scorpio owner, why do I need to buy this? Like, if I don't have a TV that can support 120 frames at 4K, why do I need to give you probably $1,000? Everybody's saying $499, but my phone was $1,000. Why would my Xbox not be $1,000? So, like, if you're not going to give me a reason, then I'm going to stay on my Scorpio. So if they want my money, show me why. Show me what you're going to do. That's what I'd want to see from them. As far as what they need to show, they don't need to do anything as far as like change their marketing strategy. Brian said it right. Like, they're already hitting the drum every 30 days, and they're not necessarily always hitting it in the Xbox market, but they're always hitting oh yeah, and we have more Japanese style games now. Oh, and we have a great console. Oh, and we're bringing people over to Mixer. And so, like, they're firing at us from all directions. You can't go into a room and talk gaming and not accidentally mention something Microsoft right now. So all they have to do is just keep doing that. Just keep showing up, keep doing what you're doing. In the job I work in, so I work in sales, and they just say, like, just keep doing good things and good things will happen. Like, just keep showing up. And
that's
not every day is a winning day, but just keep showing up.
No, that's actually a really great point. Cybernox, I want to go to you next, dude. This April event, obviously, I've heard from multiple sources that it's happening. Now, again, the sources can be completely wrong. And if I'm wrong, I'd be the first one to say, I was wrong, not a problem. But Microsoft, like Chris was just saying, wants to keep the hit parade going. What do you want to see at the event? But more importantly, what do they need to show at the event?
It scares me a little bit, because if they're showing or they're having an event in April, like, what do they have in stores for us at E3? I think during the April event, if there is one, and I'm pretty sure there will be one too, Boom. I think they need to show the Series X on performance. They need to show games on that, but most importantly, I think that what they're gonna do, I think they're gonna drop the price. I don't think they're gonna wait for E3. I think they will also, if there is a Lockhart, I think they are gonna show the Lockhart in the April event as well. And then during E3, it's all gonna be about the games, and then they're gonna pull off all the games from here on out are all games that are being shown on the Series X. If they are going to I think it's probably be mostly just a hardware reveal, showcasing what the hardware can do, maybe drop the Lockhart. But I think what Chris said is right on point. They're already doing everything that they need to be doing. They need to leave with us a couple of surprises. I don't think they're going to show too much software in this April event. It's just going to be just a hardware reveal, and then they're going to leave the games for E3. I think all the big games are going to show up. Fable's going to show up, Halo Infinite. If they do show any of these big games, it's going to be just a teaser, and then they're going to probably say, and you'll see more of this game or such and such at E3. But they're already doing their own thing, man. They're doing great. They've turned Xbox around. You see a lot more and more people, being more lenient with them. They're gonna have games, and E3 is, I think, where they're gonna show all their cards. I think this event in April is just gonna be more of a hardware showcase and giving us all the specs, showing us a little bit more of what we can expect, and maybe reveal the price. I don't think they wait for E3.
Wow, great point, dude. Really, really good stuff. I want to move on to Tempest Sun. Tempest Sun, obviously, for me, I would love a hardware reveal of Lockhart, aka the Xbox Series S, simply because they can finally let the cat out of the bag that they're going to have a two-pronged attack. And I think by doing that, I think it puts even more pressure on Sony regarding the price. But for you personally, someone that has been following this for quite some time, someone that is a major cog on this particular show on a weekly basis, what do you want to see? But more importantly, what does Microsoft need to show?
What do I want to see? I'll tell you what, Doom Eternal is launching next month. And if it's in April, I want to see them show 4K, 120 frames per second, Doom Eternal. I want them, you don't have to even show all of your full catalog of stuff coming out. I want them to show things that I'm excited for. Like, I love Assassin's Creed Odyssey, right? Looks fantastic. It's got a dynamic resolution. It goes up to 4K if you're, looking up at the sky. But it's 30 frames per second. I mean, that game still looks fantastic. Is it a next-gen game? No, we're probably getting a new next-gen, Assassin's Creed. But show the capability, show the difference. I mean,
I agree.
60 frames per second on anything higher than 1440p is like hard unless you have a really powerful PC rig. So just show that puppy at 4K 60. You could show that. Maybe show one new game they haven't shown, because at XO19, Phil said you should get used to this. He said, with how many studios we have, it's possible for us to come out with something new at like every one of these events, right? So show one new thing. Don't know what it's going to be. It could be Forza. We all know Forza's coming. It could even be Forza, just that graphical showpiece. I mean, Forza is going to be, the Forza team turn 10 is going to be at GDC. So showing stuff off. So that makes sense. There's ways you can show this console without revealing everything. You know what I'm saying? Plus, you got to remember that E3 it's big for the third party. It's big for everybody. I mean, on Microsoft stage, Capcom can show off some stuff. I mean, you name it, Bethesda, whatever. So it's big for that reason as well. They can really hone in on what the console's capable of, instead of just saying, "Hey, this is really fast." Let's what's a game that takes a long time to load now, like Metro Exodus.
Yeah.
Show how long Grand Theft Auto. Oh my God. Yeah. Sitting there with the little spinny circle thing and just, they could show that off. And if they could show it load almost instantaneously and then show quick travel, he said in this, it's probably why he said it at their event. They're probably going to show that fast travel is actually fast travel. They're probably going to show it. So, I mean, there's numerous things they can do, but what I want to see, because everybody looks and they hear 120 frames per second. They're like, yeah, right. I don't think it's right, man. I think there's some games that just the developers are good enough and they can just push things to the limit. That's what I want to see, is Doom Eternal at 120 frames. It might not be at 4K, but even if it's like, 100, like 1440p, whatever, it doesn't matter. Just seeing that at that blistering speed. Because listen, they're future proof in this console. For things down the line. So if they can show off some of those features, man, I think it's going to be extremely exciting, and they don't have to show everything. So,
no, really great points. Gaming Forte, I want to go to you next on this, obviously, because you are in the trenches and you obviously know what the people are asking for. And at some point, people are going to they're going to start asking questions about Microsoft, because they have taken over the mind share of gaming. They just have, and they're really kind of walking to their own drum. For you personally, though, if this April event is a thing, what do you want Microsoft to show personally? But in your professional opinion, what do you think they need to show?
Oh, man. So personally, because gaming is a selfish hobby, that's what it should be. So personally, they can, if I already decided I'm going to buy one. I'm buying the Series X the day it launches. I'm buying PS5 the day it launches, because I just like new tech. That's just how I am. Mm-hmm. But if they want me to main my Xbox and not this beautiful PC that's sitting next to me that gives me 200 plus frames per second, this is what I need from them. They need to take whatever IP, Doom would be a good one. Take Doom with their partnership with Samsung, put it on a TV. And then right next to that TV, take a 35-inch ultra-wide monitor and hook that game up to that TV, and it show in 21:9 aspect ratio, and say, this is why PC gamers should still want to play on Xbox, because we are going to give you something that no console was giving you before. The ability to have ultra-wide gaming on whatever monitor you have at home, and the ability to still have high frame rates and a field of view slider. If they give me those two things personally, that's all I need. Because those are the two only things that really make me not want to main just playing on Xbox. That's the only two. Because I'm going to get it from my friends. All my friends, Boom, Luca, we all play on Xbox. So whenever we want to play Halo, I jump on my Xbox and play it. 60 frames per second is going to be a norm. That's going to be the generational leap for most people going into the next generation, because most people don't even understand how much better your game is going to be at 60 frames per second. They don't even realize it. That's going to be the game changer. But how do you get people that have been indoctrinated to playing on PC, they already got ultra high frame rates? But Boom, something you say all the time when I always bring up the PC comparison, you say, look, I love PC. I don't want to sit on my computer and play all day on my PC.
Right.
But what's a good way to do that? Take that same PC gamer, say, hey, now you can take this to the living room. Or you could take it to a more comfortable desk in your room, and you can also have the same experience that you have on your PC, but sitting back in your lounging chair in a big ultra wide monitor, and you're not losing anything that you had before. That's what I want to see from them, because the games are going to come. They're not going to show Halo there. They're not going to show any tech demos of that. They're not going to show, as much as I would like for them to show Fable. They're not going to show that there.
That's probably going to close out the show or open the show. Both Halo and Fable are bookends.
That's going to be at E3, and I don't want to say wait to E3, but that's where that's at. But maybe like you said, some games that they already, like Doom. We already seen what a Cyberpunk is going to look like. How about you do some type of gameplay demo showing off what it would look like in its current form on the new system, since you already have a partnership with them? That would be an easy one right there for me. Show it running at an uncapped frame rate, showing in the side counter that this part of the game is running at ultra high frame rates. I think that's what they need to do, because like I said, you're not going to win people with the graphics, because the graphics are already going to be there. Most people already know what good graphics look like, but they haven't seen or felt, and there's no way you can feel it unless you play it, what you're actually looking at on the screen is going to translate to what you see in game. But if they can do a good enough job just showing that stuff off, that will be what I think just the masses need to see, because it's all going to be in how the game plays going through next generation, just because of the higher frame rate. So that would be what they need to do on the fan side of it. But just for me, please give me ultra wide support. Finally, you got a partnership with Samsung. I'm looking at a 21:9-inch Samsung monitor in front of me. They already have FreeSync. You already can link your console up with FreeSync and get whatever the native resolution, not resolution, but the frame rate of your monitor is now. So go the rest of the way, and that will convince a lot more people that just are on the fence about playing on console, probably the main console, because consoles do have a very smaller barrier of entry compared to this $3,000 thing that's sitting next to me, which can be intimidating for most people.
And it is for me. I'm not a tech
guy. That's what they need to do at this event, because I don't think it should be about it. They should show games, but this is where you should get all of the tech jargon out of the way. We talk about what the clock speeds of this system is going to be. Tell us how fast this SSD is going to be. Show it in real life scenarios on how you, like you said, and how games are going to be able to load from different places. And that's it. And I'll be happy. And everybody else will be happy too.
Well, listen, you really knocked it out of the park with your answer, dude. And closing out the topic, closing out this outstanding record-breaking show for primetime gaming, the loudest of the bunch. You know him as Wilmy Hood. Wilmy, in your opinion, what do you personally want to see at this rumored April event? And more importantly, what do you think Microsoft needs to show?
I'm along with everybody else. I want to see. Oh my God, there's so many games I want to see. I'd like to see the new Perfect Dark. I really want to see the new Halo. And I want them to give me a reason to not play on my PC. And everybody, if everybody's
everybody would agree with that. Yeah.
If anybody's ever heard me before, I'm not knocking Forte. My computer is an Origin. It was custom built. This thing cost me almost $6,000.
Holy shit!
Oh yeah, I know how much it is. I went through Origin to see how much this PC would cost.
Cheap. But sometimes, man, you just don't want to play on a PC. You just want to grab a controller, sit on the couch, and play on your console.
Yep.
And I really, really, really want to see Fable. I know a lot of people hate on Fable. I care less about Battletoads. Awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, don't let Xbot hear that.
Oh, I know. He's going to be on my show Wednesday night. We're going to have a long discussion about it. But, I want to see that. I'd really like to see just I want to see a lot of new games. I think they're going to show the Lockhart sometime in April. I agree. I think, was it Cyber that said it? Most of E3 will be games.
Yeah, and it should be. It should be games.
That's what I'm thinking. I think E3 will be mainly games, and I mean, that's really it for me, man. I just want a reason so I don't have to log into my PC because, I mean, PC gaming can be an issue. I mean, I know me and Forte catch a lot of shit sometimes online, about you always have to upgrade your PC or you have all these updates.
Yeah.
I just
Driver updates.
Yeah, give me a reason not to turn on this Origin.
Look, man, PC gaming is boring as hell because most of us are by ourselves.
Yeah, that's true.
That's why I want Microsoft to do exactly what Woomy just said. Take the PC part away and throw it in the trash to say, hey, you may not be as powerful as your PC, but you still have all those features that your PC can give you right here on this box, and you can play it on any TV you want to.
And and there's no Xbox. I don't care what they do to that thing that will compete with my Origin. But then again, my Origin costs the price of 20 new Xboxes. But I mean, it'd be stupid to try to compare them. But that's what I'm after. I just want a better reason not to have to play on my PC. I mean, PC gaming is great, and Forte can tell you how many crap games, man, do we play on PC, dude?
A ton of them, I'm sure.
I see the look on his face.
We're not gonna answer that question.
I would jump in and say I disagree on the fact that it said PC is now an Xbox. And so you, as a gamer, get to play where you want to play. So it's like, if you want to play on a console, go play on your console. You buy the game once, you own it. Oh, good. Just go and play it on your PC or in the cloud. And like Xbox is giving players options, hands down. So if you want to have and you want to spend that $6,000 and you want to have that premiere experience, guess what? You can still play effing Halo. You're not cut off from gaming.
Oh, yeah.
And that's what we'll see more of the industry go that way.
Yeah, I don't think, like I said, for me, the features, I can load up Halo right now and play it on my PC. Like I said, that's why what I want from them is just so minute, because they're giving me everything I want pretty much. They're giving me the experience to be able to take my games and play them wherever I want to. And that, as a gamer, is a great feeling. But if I want to play on my system, these are the barriers that make my PC experience still better than my console experience. And that's the only thing. And like I said, that one minute thing, which is very doable. Like you said, the system ain't got to run at 4K. They can put 1440p and lock it at 60 frames per second and give me that, and I'm 100% good, because guess what? I don't play at 4K on this monitor. I only play at 1440p. That's all. So 1440p is more than good enough for most people out here, as long as you give them a solid 60 frames per second. So if I would say anything to developers that are making games for this system, I understand the want to go out and blow everybody's mind with graphical fidelities and all of these different things that you could put into a game. But just think rational. How much better is the experience of our game if we just gave them all the bells and whistles, along with solid frame rate and a beautiful looking game that scales at 1440p? And I think then you got a masterpiece at that point, in my eyes.
Listen, all I can say is not only has this been one of the most watched shows I've personally ever done, but this panel was nothing better than stout from top to bottom. Everyone had an outstanding opinion. It has been an absolute pleasure to work with you guys for over 2 hours. I want to get everybody out of here, but let me just catch up on some of these super chats. Starlord14 drops a $10 and very generous super chat, and he says this: do you think that the Lockhart can be the new Switch for the casuals? Affordable and packed with value, Game Pass plus new releases. Maybe it snatches the cool console title for next gen. Yeah, well, price is going to be key, and and along with price comes with value. Those are two for the casual market. Price and value are important. If Microsoft has both in the Lockhart, they're going to sell a lot of those consoles. And RNB3 drops a $2 super chat, and he says every Samsung TV comes with Game Pass and a controller, and I think that's what they're working at. And our very good friends at the Iron Lords podcast drops a $5 super chat, and he says, my man Forte, seeing the light. Come on home, brother. Destiny on the X Series X. Let's go. PC Master Race, bend the knee. Just kidding.
But it still
Right,
plays on
because he-
Stadia too.
Yeah, because he was saying, because he was being very fraudulent on the Iron Lords podcast yesterday, saying he was gonna leave PC and go back to console. And I was like, bro, you don't even know what Destiny gonna run at 60 frames per second on that system yet, even though we know it will. But
Yeah.
just make the Bungie. I don't want to be waiting until March of next year to get this update either. It needs to be there day one.
And this is coming from an addict who's addicted to Destiny. JD Gamer drops a $2 super chat. Says, just dropping through to say, great show, East Side. Oh, wait, I got quite a few of them. JD Gamer drops a second one. Hit that like button, folks. And Sikio Yumi drops a $2 super chat. Says, boom, Forte crew. Thank you for everything that you do. No, thank you. JD Gamer drops an additional $2 super chat. Says, can I call PC players peasants now? And look, let me just say this again. This has been an epic show. Brian, Chris, Wilmy, you guys were unbelievable as guests. Of course, Gaming Forte, Tempest Sun, and Cybernox, our regular panel, just completely killed us. Let's get to the outros. Brian, do me a favor, dude. Obviously, people, you don't need Little Boomstick's help because, quite frankly, your channel, you and Chris run, man, one hell of a YouTube channel, and your content is unbelievable. But just in case there are some of the near 600 people still here that never heard of Work to Gaming, tell everyone where they can follow you on Twitter, but more importantly, check out your outstanding YouTube channel.
So Work to Game videos. So it's like that C/Work to Game videos. Chris and I have been doing this for 3 years. We love RPGs, JRPGs, MMORPGs, Final Fantasy 14, World of Warcraft. Chris has been putting together some Temtem guides and things like that. And I'm hearing rumors it's coming soon to Xbox Early Access. I think that'd be really amazing. I've been playing that game as well. So go check out. That's our main channel. We've spun up like two others. I have Ginger Prime, so you've seen me probably chatting in that. And then we also have Work to Play. And so Work to Play, like what we found is like, we post a lot. So we have a lot of different passion. And we found that when doing live streams, like typically like someone's like, I didn't want live content. And we might be a week where there's so much news that you just have to be live. So we've just spun up a Work to Play site. We've been posting highlights and we've been posting like our live streams over there. And anybody who's checked us out in the past or like I know like Tempest Sun, and there was a couple people were like, whoa, Work to Games here. And it's always great to see kind of that greater community, just overall that's just passionate about games. Chris, what do you want to tell people we got coming up?
I mean, I think we hit a lot in this show that I'm really excited about right now. So it's just a good time to be a gamer. I've been playing Wilson for the first time this week, and for all the bugs they had out of the launch, starting just now, it's running fine. Mm-hmm. It's running great. Now I'm playing it on a cloud PC, so I'm running it on Shadow PC. So of course, if there's anything tied to performance, I wouldn't know, because the benefit of cloud gaming is if you have the internet, the resources are unlimited. Like it just scales to something that I could never.
You want 40 graphics cards? Here you go.
Yeah, here you go. No problem. So I'm just excited to play more games this year. I feel like last year I didn't get to touch enough. I don't know if you guys feel that way, but I feel like in 2019 and 2018, the game of the year awards come along and you're like, I only played like a quarter of those nominees, which means that like I'm missing great gaming experiences. So that's my goal this year, and we'll of course bring that to Work to Game.
Well, listen, it was great having you guys on. I'm really thrilled that we got both of you on, because you guys both bring something special to the channel. And I'm going to tell you this right now. I am a big fan, and to have you on my small show is a big deal for me personally. And of course, let me continue with Wilmy Hood. Wilmy, obviously, dude, thank you so much for taking the time to be here. I grabbed you literally 13 minutes before the show went live because I thought I actually had a spot, but thankfully I was able to rotate everybody in and out and get them their fair shake, so to speak. Do me a favor, Wilmy. Tell everyone where they can follow you, potentially be blocked by you, and also check out your incredible YouTube channel.
Well, you can find me just about anywhere, man. You can play a game. You can even on Google Stadia as of today. It's legit.
Yes.
It's official. You can find me on Steam, Epic, Xbox, PlayStation, Switch, all under Wilmy Hood. You can find me every Wednesday night at Gaming Beyond the Box at 8 p.m. Eastern. Me and the Fort crew, you guys have heard us before. We just, like to make everybody laugh, and we managed to throw some game talk in there at some points. And that's really about it. And thanks for having me on, Boom. And I just subscribed to these two guys because they're pretty awesome. So I'm going to be listening to some of their stuff here soon.
I just subbed to you too. I was like,
that's awesome. That's awesome. Well, listen, gentlemen,
my show was very unusual compared to most gaming shows.
Yeah, but it's more adult, but it's also very honest. I have to give you that.
We're more of a party chat type.
You are a party chat for sure, but it's fun, it's interesting, and it's not something you see every day. So listen, thank you so much. Let me continue on with, of course, Gaming Forte, dude. Thank you for racing from work to be here, because obviously you were an integral part of what makes the primetime gaming lights shine. Do me a favor, dude. Tell everyone where they can find you, because quite frankly, you are I don't want to say the word whore of podcasting, but you are everywhere, and that's a good thing. Whatever show you're on is definitely a plus to have you a part of that panel. And also, you got to talk about your YouTube channel, because quite frankly, it's dope.
My man. So I always say I wasn't going to do all these shows, but then you meet so many cool people in the community, and they say, hey, jump on my show and help out. And you be like, yeah, okay. And then next thing you know, you're on 4 shows or 3 shows a week consistently. So, but no, it's a pleasure, because people just like listening to the things I have to say, and I always enjoy saying those things. So for me, it's Gaming Forte everywhere, YouTube and Twitter. It's gonna be a bunch of stuff coming up on the channel. Your boy ain't got to work for the next 2 days.
Nice.
I picked the perfect day not to have to go to GameStop and work for the next 2 days. So that's great. Dude, Chris and Brian, it's really funny because I went to your channel to go subscribe to the channel, and I'm already subscribed, and I'm like, I don't remember doing this. And then I was looking at your channel and your videos, and there's one video that came to know. It was why Pokemon is in trouble.
Yeah.
And the reason I remember that video, because I remember that thumbnail specifically, is because my youngest daughter loves Pokemon.
Yeah.
And she was playing Temtem, and she was going through a bunch of videos saying everybody keeps saying that Temtem is better than Pokemon, and she literally came across y'all channel, and she would say, oh, these guys are playing this and they're saying that Pokemon is this, and I was like, oh, okay, that's cool. And then I just happened to notice that my daughter subscribed to y'all channel on my YouTube.
It's good daughter.
Because of that.
So in the family, keeping it in there.
I thought that was really, really cool. But yo, I really appreciate you guys coming on, because it's always good to have just difference of opinions and just talking to gamers, because gamers is the reason we have this hobby that we have. But you can check me out at that channel, and you also can see me Wednesday nights. I'm sorry, Enrique. Brat Podcast 9 p.m. on Wednesday nights, and Scumcast Saturday nights at 7 p.m. and Crossfire check out the last episode, because your boy Boone came back home.
Yes, I sure did.
Crossfire on Fridays at 7 p.m. And man, I'll tweet out when I'm doing something else, because I'm all over the place.
Well, definitely appreciate you being here as always. Tempest Son, let me get your opinion on this. First of all, dude, you bring it every week. Having you a part of this show, and I've told you this privately, and I'll say it publicly, is epic for me, because you're one of the first people I went to when putting this show together on paper, and we made it a reality. And having you a part of this program is epic. Tell everyone where they can get sniped by you, beaten down by you, and also follow you on social media, which you are very active in.
Yes, if you want to be abused, add me on Xbox at Tempest Sun's my gamer tag, and at the Tempest Sun on Twitter. And yeah, as always, I love being here. I'm only on Twitter and I just play games. I'm just some random guy, and you were nice enough to ask me to be on your show, and the rest is history. But yeah, I'm extremely happy that I could have Brian and Chris on here. I've been watching your guys' channel. Oh man, for a while, and I haven't played Final Fantasy 14 since Heaven's Word.
Yeah,
and I still listen to your guys' stuff, and I like how you guys have branched out to other games and everything. I watched literally every video. You keep me occupied while I'm at work.
Thanks,
So I appreciate it. Yeah,
oh,
and
dude, that's
Tall
how
order, we post a
yeah.
lot.
I've mentioned, Fantasy Star. Brian mentioned Blue Protocol. That's probably going to be something I won't shut up about either. So take it from me. Please subscribe to their channels if you're interested in anything MMO related. It's where I get a lot of my information. So just take it from me. Subscribe to these guys, and it's like Chris said, it is a really cool time that just some random Monday we can have all this news. It's a good time to be a gamer. There's more to come. It's fun, man. So just have fun and play games.
Well, great to have you as always, and love what you had to say. And of course, last and in no way least, bringing up the rear and watching Hour 6 is Cyberknock, our resident Cape Crusader. Dude, again, having you a part of the show is awesome. We need to meet up to have a cup of coffee, damn it, because we are only a couple of miles away from each other. But also, dude, really appreciate you having you back on the program. The 8 weeks that you were gone, we thoroughly missed your opinion. Also, we love what you do on your YouTube channel and how active you are on social media. So tell the fine folks that are still here, which is 445 people, where they can find you on social media and check out your YouTube channel.
Absolutely. It's always great to be here, boom. This is like my second home right here. Whenever I'm away, I get home. I get homesick. All right. So 8 weeks was too long. But yeah, I'm at Cyberknox on Twitter. That's where I'm mostly more active. Cyberknox everywhere else, Steam, Xbox Live. You can find me pretty much anywhere. It's always a pleasure to be here. Boom, you've been great. I know on my YouTube channel at Cyberknox as well, it's been a little low on content. The older the little guy gets, the harder it gets to create more content. You know what I mean? It's tough. But I got to get back to it. I got to get back to the grind. That's for sure. I need to put out some more new videos. And you can also follow me on my second channel, Xbox Game Pass Club, where I always pick a game at random on Xbox and we try it out. Sometimes we get fatigued with all the games we play. We stick to the same genres. And sometimes it's just good to branch out, and maybe, out of nowhere, you'll discover something new when you play a different game that you never thought about. So yeah, Xbox Game Pass Club on Twitch and on YouTube, and Cyberknox everywhere else. And to the panel and to the guests, you guys are phenomenal, man. It was great being here with you guys.
Well, thanks again for being here. And last but certainly not least, closing out the last super chat of the evening, Starlord14 drops an additional, very generous $10 super chat and says this: boom, thank you for all of these shows. The topics are great. The panel is great. And the comment section is welcoming. Dealer and crew are fantastic. But if there's one channel to catch, it's yours. Dude, that is ultra nice of you to say, because I look up to Dealer and those guys, and to have you say that is a big deal for me. And once again, of course, I want to wish everyone a fantastic evening. And I'm going to close it out like I always do, because my dad was my hero. And he taught me two things that I hearkened through my entire NYPD career with, and even in my social media space, I still run with this. One, it doesn't cost anything to be nice. And two, treat others how you want to be treated. And if you live by these rules, I can guarantee you are going to have one awesome kind of a day. Take care, everyone, and we'll see you next week on the newest episode of Primetime Gaming with Mr. Boomstick and friends.